A Metropolitan Division rivalry reborn in the Eastern Conference Semifinals. The Washington Capitals and the Carolina Hurricanes, the first two teams to emerge from the conference quarterfinals, they will be squaring up at the U.S. Capitol. After a long span of rest, the two teams clash with each other stylistically. Carolina being a possession-heavy team that they show in their 5-game victory over the New Jersey Devils. The Capitals, a poised and hungry team that can take over on special teams, and being led by that man right there, Alex Ovechkin. This is the second time that these two meet in postseason play. Carolina won the first one in 7 games. The home team won the first 6 games of that series before the Hurricanes won Game 7 on the road. On a double overtime winner from Brock McGinn, which was then the 3rd longest Game 7 in NHL history. Now it's the 4th longest Game 7. That spot being taken over by the Manitoba Miracle, which happened in Game 7 between the Jets from Winnipeg, the Winnipeg Jets, and the St. Louis Blues, in which the Jets trailed 3-1 in the final 2 minutes before winning 4-3 with 3:50 left in double overtime. Hello everyone, I am Alec Nava. These two are the first 2 teams to emerge from the first round of their series. The Hurricanes became the first team when they took away the banged up New Jersey Devils that was never really close. Same for the Devils' Game 3 victory in double overtime. Carolina was confident, in control, and dominant thanks to their defensive play, excellent goaltending, and a well-rounded scoring attack. The same thing can be said about the Capitals. As they are the top dog in the Eastern Conference, they reinforced that as they defeated the underdog Montreal Canadiens. It took just 5 games for them to move on, where they had their first series victory since their Stanley Cup win in 2018. But their first playoff series clinch at home in a decade when they took out the New York Islanders in 7 games in that series. While the Capitals mostly maintained control against the Canadiens, Montreal tested them more than what the game scores might suggest. That should serve them well against Carolina. There's no love lost between these two. The brawl-filled April meeting in Raleigh is not to be forgotten. There isn't much history between these two squads though in postseason hockey. They met just once before. That series needed 7 games to solve, and while a dozen points separate the division-topping Capitals and the second-seeded Hurricanes in the regular season standings, the season series split and a statistical comparison suggests that they could go down the distance in this head-to-head matchup. Alex Ovechkin was highlighted ahead at the first round. With 4 goals, including his first career playoff overtime winner, he more than lived up to X-Factor expectations. He sits in a tie for the 3rd most postseason goals in the spring, but no skater shone brighter than the first round series than Dylan Strome, his top setup man. For a player whose previous playoff experience was limited to 2 short springtime stints, totaling 13 games, he certainly looks right at home in the postseason. He's at an impressive 1.8 point per game pace. He registered at least 1 point all 5 games against the Canadiens with 3 multi-point efforts so far in the playoffs. He has assists on all 4 of Ovechkin's goals, and his 9 points currently rank him tied for the 3rd most league-wide. He's leading the Caps in playoff assists with 7, points with 9, and power play points with 3, and it's among the team's most reliable face-off men. Freddie Anderson was locked in when he was up against the Devils in the first round. He had a single goal in back-to-back wins to open the series with an impressive .936 save percentage and an otherworldly .159 GAA to help the Hurricanes drive the Devils to elimination. But that was creeping in Game 4. Not about his ability, but about his availability after he was hurt on a collision with Timo Meier. He was labeled day-to-day with an undisclosed injury. Did not suit up for Game 5. Pyotr Kochetkov backstopped the Canes to a series-clinching win. It was 31-35 for an .886 save percentage on the night. He's no stranger to the number 1 gig. With Anderson sidelined nearly 3 months of a knee issue, he brings an extra edge to the Canes lineup. The question is, though, will he be ready? That's the biggest question facing the Canes. The Caps quickly wrapped up their own series a night after the Hurricanes advance, which means the veteran doesn't have much time to heal before the second round. But they got promising news on Thursday when he skated, and even better news when he practiced Friday. He is officially back. We look at the success rate of the Hurricanes PK in the first round. On 15 opportunities through 5 first-round games, they blanked the Devils' power play. The PK prowess is no great surprise as they led the league in regular season penalty kill rate, 83.6%. Their ability to nullify the Devils' third-ranked power play was the statement of the postseason for them. Not only did they stump up one of the league's top-ranked power play units, they used their stifling structural play to flip the momentum that the Devils should have gained with the man advantage and left them looking out of sorts. They also posted the 5th highest power play success rate of the postseason so far, converting 6 of 19, for a truly dominant special teams performance. This was a power play that looked out of sorts in the second half of the regular season. They broke out here, up against one of the top penalty kills in the NHL. How might we see this play out against Washington? Look at these team season series, and you can see Washington's ability to outmaneuver the PK at times of Carolina. 3 of their 4 regular season meetings saw the Caps strike at least once with the man advantage. Overall, they posted middle-of-the-pack power play numbers during the regular season, 23.5%. They stay true to that in the first round against Montreal. 3 times with the man advantage for a 23.1% rate. Those numbers don't jump off the screen, but the top power play weapon certainly does. 2 of OV's 4 first-round markers were scored on the man advantage. Both shook the momentum of that series. His first came in the first period of Game 1 to set the tone for the Caps. The second one opened the scoring in Game 5 to put the Habs on their heels early in the elimination game. So how Washington would win this one is if, thanks to the 4 regular season meetings, they know as well as anyone that you cannot squander opportunities against the Hurricanes. No one is more proficient at dominating puck possession than the Canes. Their ability to clog up the neutral zone and bust up plays before they can even take shape makes for a frustrating battle. Luckily for the Caps, they're opportunistic, and they'll have to make it count. A lopsided early April meeting skews the series scoring in Carolina's favor, but in reality, these offenses have been evenly matched in terms of goal scoring. Major discrepancy in shot totals favoring the Canes reinforces the sense of urgency that the Caps should feel. They don't give them many looks, boasting shot suppression as one of their many strengths. The Caps saw really strong production for the top 6 in the opening round, but they'll need to see more contributions from the bottom half of their lineup if they want to break down the defense. It's the man in the blue paint. Logan Thompson stumped the Canadiens early and often in the first round, limiting them to 2.4 goals per game. Thompson has to be at his best against a high-scoring Kane squad. The depth rivals Washington's own. If Carolina wins this one, if they were to win, if defense really wins championships, you have to like their chances. Only one team was more effective than the Caps at keeping the puck out of their own net. That's Carolina. He held the Devils just 2.2 goals per game. But talking about offense, because that too was excellent in the first round. The offense averaged the third most goals per game at 3.8 for the opening round. And it wasn't just the top 6 that showed up. 11 different skaters scored at least 1 goal for the Canes through 5 games at the first round. 4 defensemen got into the action. Both the Caps and Canes are really good at dictating the pace. We saw that in the first round as Washington slowed Montreal's starts, allowing just first period. They allowed just 1 first period goal all series. They largely shut down the Devils' offensive efforts. That could have been a defense-driven series. That suits the Hurricanes just fine. Dictate the pace and keep Washington's power play at bay. Carolina could topple the division champs if they were to come out on top. Let's go over to the starting lines. We begin with the lower seed, the Carolina Hurricanes. The forwards begin with Andrei Svechnikov, Sebastian Aho, and Jackson Blake. Taylor Hall, who got signed to a 3-year extension just recently, at just over a $3 million cap hit. Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Logan Stankoven are his second-line forwards. Jordan Martinook, Jordan Stahl, Seth Jarvis on the third line, Eric Robinson, Mark Jankowski, and William Carrier on the fourth line. The Canes defensemen begin with Jacob Slavin and Brent Burns, Dmitry Orlov with Jalen Chatfield, Shane Gossenfield with Sean Walker, Freddie Anderson is the starter, Pyotr Kochetkov is the backup. For the Capitals, their lineup is like this: Alex Ovechkin, Dylan Strome, Anthony Beauvillier, Connor McMichael, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Tom Wilson, Andrew Mangiapane, Lars Eller, Ryan Leonard, Brandon Duhaime, Nick Dowd, and Alexei Protas to round it out. Jacob Chikrin with John Carlson on the top defensive pair, Rasmus Sandin with Matt Roy, Alex Alexiev, Trevor Van Riemsdyk to round it out. Logan Thompson is the starter, Charlie Lindgren is the backup. Scratches for Carolina are Tyson Jost, Spencer Martin, Alexander Nikishin, Ty Smith, Juha Jaska, Scott Morrow, Riley Stoneman, and Jack Rostovic. And as for the Capitals scratches, Taylor Radish, Ethan Bear, Dylan McGrath, Ethan Frank, and Mitchell Gibson. Hunter Shepard was sent down to AHL Hershey. And out for them are Sonny Milano and Martin Ferravari. Ferravari is out for the year, having knee surgery to repair a torn meniscus. Even for him not playing the entire series, Freddie Anderson leads the NHL in GAA and save percentage throughout this postseason. One of the old guards on the net, he wants to make sure that he wants to send a message to the NHL. Carolina, despite being one of the best home teams in the league, they have to match that energy on the road. They are not good on the road throughout the course of the season. Capitals are starting with their fourth line, with Dowd out there to take the opening draw, and here we go. Jordan Staal wins the opening faceoff. Let's get rocking and rolling. Washington at home ice like they were in 2019 as Chatfield sends it up, and it's grabbed down by the Capitals. Up to the far side, a bump along through the boards as it's sent down, and it's going to be iced. As we say hello to our officials in this game, Wes McCauley and TJ Luxmore are referees, Scott Sherry, who called the icing, and Trent Knorr are linesmen. Rob Brindamore and Spencer Carberry, the two head coaches, as they have to start their coaching careers with the team that they're on right now. Rob Brindamore, in his 7th year coaching with Carolina, won his first playoff series as a coach against Washington. As the Capitals are taking defensive zone draws as a result of this icing, as it's won by the Hurricanes. Gostisbehere blasts one, blocked right in front. And this is Protas picking it up as Jankowski wanted to keep it in. Hurricanes hold it along the Caps blue line, looking to find somebody to send this one in. They will. Up the far side, it's grabbed at the far corner. At the right play, held inside by Walker, who gets bumped. From the near corner, emerging as Robinson goes back. Here's a deep shot from Carrier. That may have skipped wide off Jankowski's stick. Set up pass was bounced up and grabbed down at center ice by the Canes near the Capitals' 50th anniversary logo. On the way back, the Caps will pick it up as the Aho line gets on the ice for the first time. It's him, Svechnikov, and Blake on the top line. Through the near side, here is Pierre-Luc Dubois with partial break. Dubois sets up across, and fanning on the shot was Tom Wilson. A grade A chance for Washington to get on the board first, as McMichael sends it up inside. And the Canes will move it back through. Aho, here is Svechnikov cutting his way in front. Bounces off the pad of Thompson. All the way back is Brent Burns. The shot is blocked. Just barely holds his own. Right along the high slot. This doesn't go all the way. Played out by Dubois, but right onto the skate of Aho. And the Canes will re-enter back with a drop pass for Blake. Blake will scoot around the far half boards. Blake backhands one around, cutting out the pass with Chychrun. They find Dubois. Right back the other way is Orlov, who finds Chatfield. Orlov was on the other side of this playoff matchup in 2019 with the Capitals as Blake will move around. Alexiev staying with his man. Orlov now wearing the number 7 for Carolina instead of number 9 for Washington. For the far half boards is held aside by Hall, but there's nobody at the near corner. Now there is as Kokiniemi allows Hall to take that one away. Chatfield's high shot bounced off a body and out of play. It was deflected up and out the rink. The Brindamore, 47, 30, and 5, 99 points this season, 4th in the Eastern Conference, while Washington's head coach Spencer Carberry, 51, 22, and 9, 1st in the Metro, 1st in the East. It would have been a very tight season. It is May 6th, and the headliner at Raleigh at Lenovo Center is Lincoln Park. And meanwhile, the headliner in DC is this game at Capital One Arena. 5 points in the first round, which ties a career high in any series for Tom Wilson. That is 5 points for him. It's 5 points against the Montreal Canadiens. In that first round, that tied a career high as Lars Ellers waved out the faceoff circle. Andrew Mangiapane will take it in his place. And he wins it. Went back onto the near corner for Sandin. Ryan Leonard tried to break it free and does. Goes all the way back onto the Kane zone. It is Burns recollecting with Mangiapane chasing. Bounced out the side of the cage. Kokiniemi played away from Washington. From the left circle, good job getting that one out. And Sandin will restart. It's Sandman moving in front. And that pass missed everyone. Anderson's out to play it for Slavin. Slavin backhands one towards the near half boards for Hall. Taylor Hall moving up the near side. Hall sends it up Stankoven. Stankoven looks, cross-ice pass. That skipped over Hall's stick. Chatfield kept it inside, but all he found was Roy. Matt Roy got it out, and Burns in trouble, but helping him is Kotkaniemi to retrieve it away from Leonard. Up the far boards, McMichael got it back, and then moving back up for the Caps. Here is Dubois, who gets sticked away by Slavin. Up the far side boards, here's Jarvis. There's a stick lift there. And now here's Jordan Martinook, who closes in. Martinook's turned away by Thompson. In tight as he backhands one back to the point. Scooting around for the boards. And there's the bump. All the way back for Chatfield. Across for Slavin. That shot blocked. And it goes all the way back to the Carolina zone, where Anderson's way out of his net. Chatfield plays it over for the near half boards for Jarvis. Jarvis flips it down low. For the approaching Martinook, who missed it. Stahl keeps it inside. Stahl bounce one off of Thompson. And here's Chatfield. Deflection from Martinook. That one wide. Stahl trying to hold his own. This bounce off of Jarvis. And Stahl will try to get this one back to him. Instead goes to the point where it's chopped at. And it finds Thompson over towards the mesh. Tom Wilson with 100 penalty minutes throughout the season. He got out of the way and bumped Dmitry Orlov and set the total with 2 hits. And we talk about how Wilson's a physical presence here as he tried to run over Orlov and Chatfield. 33 goals, 233 hits. The only skater in the NHL with at least 30 goals and 200 hits. A mean and physical presence. And when he's out there, always keep your head up. Ball starting to draw. It seems that Dowd is going to be tossed out. Yes, he will. One of the remaining players in that 2019 series, alongside Ovechkin. Another false start on the faceoff. That's going to be on Sebastian Aho, one of the players on the 2019 series. Ovechkin, of course, is one of those that was on that 2019 series. Jordan Stahl and Jordan Martinook as well. Andrei Svechnikov. Carolina wins the draw. Here's Gostisbehere holding for the point. Gostisbehere shot blocked in front. A tangle up right to high slot. Canes hold it. It bounced off a Chikrin's stick. Svechnikov on the hole at the far corner. Jackson Blake in pursuit. Up the far side, the Caps get it out. Gostisbehere rushes back. Gostisbehere leads the way through the middle. And then moving down through center, it's Aho, who leaves it for Blake. Blake skates around. Jackson Blake from inside. That was a slow-moving shot. And it bounced over to the near half boards. Picked up by the Caps on the counter by Duhaime. Duhaime gets matched up and at the late offside against Washington. Blake will get it back for Gostisbehere. Shane Gostisbehere. As his guys are changing, the fourth line is out there again for Carolina. That's the Jankowski line. Him, Robinson, and Carrier. Brent Burns moves it up for the middle. 11 shot attempts, 7 of them blocked for the Canes. Up for the near side, the Carolina Hurricanes have been the more dominant team throughout this game. 2-0 the shots favor Carolina's. Carrier had to get separated. 2 wins each head-to-head this season. 14-10 goals in favor Carolina. Shots are 135-92. Penalty minutes are 93 each. There have been 142 combined penalty minutes on the April 2nd meeting. That's where all the chippiness ensued. Jalen Chatfield being in the midst of that. Face-off won by the Canes. Burns fires it around the near side. It'll be recollected the far half boards by Roy. Sandin being pressured by Robinson from behind. Washington has an edge over the far side but can't get it out. Jankowski on the keep. Here it is down low on the put in front by Robinson that wasn't there. Held inside by Slavin at the point. Slavin fires it loose in the slot. And the Caps pick it up, wanting to get it out. Strome in trouble. Jankowski, Robinson! And it's stopped by Thompson again. Jankowski, who scored 8 goals for the Hurricanes after he was traded to Carolina at the deadline. Outscored Mikko Rantanen his time with the Canes in terms of point production. Jankowski had 8, Rantanen had 6. Rantanen had no desire to play in Carolina. Up the far side, dumped in by the Caps. Anderson out to play this out to the far corner. Handled down by Stahl, who'll leave for the charging Martinook. Martinook, cross-ice pass went over Jarvis' stick, and it's bounced up. Stahl trying to hold it, can't. Mangiapane got tied up, and here's Chatfield who fires around the near side. He picked up by Ryan Leonard, who gets steamrolled at the far half boards, and Martinook may have get hauled down We stay 5-on-5. Martinook on the hole at the far corner. It goes to Chatfield at the deep right point. Bouncing over to the near corner. A tug on Jarvis by Alexiev as Stahl gets tied up. So it's Martinook. Martinook going to pick it up. Van Riemsdyk there. The Canes dominate offense's own time as Chatfield gets tied up by Mangiapane. Both teams working hard to get the puck out of this corner in this ferocious sport battle. Chatfield scoops it up, free of it. Chatfield, whip around shot, can't do it. Jarvis on the hold, back around, past Martinook. Here's Chatfield again. Boxed out at the far corner. That allows Van Riemsdyk to find Alexiev, but Jarvis continues to be in pursuit. Jarvis checks this man. Alexiev still feeling the brunt of the pressure from Aho. Alexiev tangles him up. A minute of zone time here for the Canes, and a penalty arm is in the air. This is touched up by the Caps, and the Hurricanes will go on the power play, where they have went 6 of 19 in the opening round against the Devils. We'll see how they go in their second round series against the Caps. But soon enough, we'll have to find out. We'll be right back in just a moment as the call. Never mind, it's on Carolina. It is a penalty against the Canes. So Washington is going to go on the power play where they're testing the Carolina penalty kill. Where I thought it was going to be a Hurricanes power play. Never mind. This is a test for Washington to break the perfect penalty kill of Carolina, where they were 15 of 15 in the first round. Game 1 of this second round series will return. High stick is the penalty call. Sebastian Aho goes off for 2 minutes. Carolina is 15 of 15 on the penalty kill against the New Jersey Devils. Against the Capitals, it's going to be a different test. Things can change from time to time, but you can always stay perfect on the PK for so long, it may break at some point. The Edmonton Oilers, they found out about this in their second round series against the Vancouver Canucks. But however, they allowed just 4 power play goals in all of last year's magical run for them on the way to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. 14-1 the shot attempts in favor of the Hurricanes. Mishandled pass from Ovechkin to Carlson, but Carlson's able to hold. Strome on the right circle, fighting Wilson. Tom Wilson going down low for Strome. Strome in front, and it bounced out. Ovechkin to Strome and then back for Carlson. John Carlson, the pass misfired. He is able to hold his own. Dylan Strome for the high swat. Almost sticked away fighting Carlson. Carlson rips it, and it may have bounced out of play. Yes, it is. We've seen our fair share of crazy action here. You've seen our fair share of crazy action throughout this recent four-day stretch. Washington went 3 of 13 on the power play against Montreal, but in terms of this 4-day stretch, it's been a crazy turn of events. At the Stars make that ferocious comeback on the Avalanche in Game 7 in regulation. First ever Game 7 comeback. Game 7 multi-goal comeback to be completed in regulation. Jankowski up against Wilson here on this face-off. And it's won by the Canes. It is Seth Jarvis on the rush. Here comes the Canes. PK here, short-handed. Up the far side, drop pass. That made its way to Thompson as it bounced off it on the soft shot. Mark Jankowski was there with a purpose. Jalen Chatfield as well as he wanted to stick that one away. Wilson will send this one back for Jacob Chychrun. Chychrun will wait. It's the first ever Game 7 multi-goal comeback in NHL history to be complete in regulation between Stars and Avs. Stars throw 2-0, 1-4-2. Up at the far corners, Wilson tried to stick this one away. Here's Carlson coming out to the right point. And then Strome. Carlson backs up onto the point and then back. Ovechkin fires it. Loose out in front. It's still free. Broken stick on the ice and Anderson finds a way. Wilson broke his stick on the deflection attempt. You wonder if that's going to cause some momentum change. And he got bumped right in front by Dmitry Orlov, his former teammate, who was boxed out way out the top. And the day after the Stars Avalanche comeback, the Jets complete the Manitoba Miracle, down 3-1 the final 2 minutes. They win it 4-3 in the third longest Game 7 in NHL history. Winning with 3:50 left in double overtime, Adam Lowry's deflection on Neil Pionk's shot. Kyle Connor set it up. 51 seconds left on the Washington power play as Strome is checking on something. Looking to get set for the signal from Scott Cherry. They're getting set on. Right now the signal's there. It is Strome and Jordan Staal, and Staal is tossed out. It's him, Martinook, Slavin, and Burns on the Canes PK. Ovechkin, Strome, Wilson, Chychrun, Carlson. The top power play unit on Washington. Strome wins the draw. It goes back for Carlson. Carlson's shot made its way to Anderson as he covers. He had a clean look at that one. Now, 3 shots on goal in this power play after the Caps had just 1 shot attempt right before this power play. Yesterday, it was 2 barn burners in the NBA. Celtics and Knicks got an overtime thriller. Mikal Bridges saved the day. Martinook gets it out of the zone. And then another thriller between the Nuggets and the Thunder. Both the Knicks and Nuggets won their games in comeback fashion. The Thunder had chances, but couldn't finish it. Strome down for the middle. Strome gets poked away. So was Chychrun, but it makes its way back for Carlson. Ovechkin boxed out. It goes to Chychrun at the top of the right circle. Setting up down low is Strome, who has it. Now back for Chychrun. Chychrun has a cross-ice pass, and Carlson opts to go for the pass down low for Strome. Chychrun again. Fires one that's blocked, and it goes all the way out towards the Cap zone. 10 seconds left, and Logan Thompson will play this one out. And Nikola Jokic had first career 40-20 playoff game in his career. The playoffs, power play over. Up at the near side is Pierre-Luc Dubois. Dubois shoved towards the near corner. 3 shots on the power play. They have yet to record a shot at 5-on-5. Sandin looked to set up right in front. That was boxed out. Through the far half boards, the Canes will scoot that one down for the ice. Settled down by Matt Roy. Rasmus Sandin will regather. Up the near side. Takes a bounce. The Canes will pick it up for their own zone. And move this one down the near side where it's Sandin. Back across. And up for the far side, Matt Roy tried to find the open lane, but there was no lane that was open there. Kotkaniemi sets up Stankoven. Logan Stankoven looks at the near side, backtracks, and then goes across. Up the far boards on the dump-in. In pursuit is Stankoven trying to make his presence felt, or rather Kotkaniemi. But all he found was several Capitals. Taylor Hall trying to back check. He will as he poked it away. Hall will go across the ice, but that was intercepted, and the Caps will move it back the other way. Flipped over to the near corner. Gostisbehere. Anderson's way out of his crease. Played it into trouble. His teammates were there to help him. And here is Sean Walker, who fires it around from the near boards. Picked up at the far side by Gostisbehere. Right center ice as he fires this once again. First one there is Roy. Roy gets ran right into, right behind the net. The Canes get a takeaway. Walker fires one off the body of Brandon Duhaime. And up the far boards, this will be gloved down center ice by the Canes. Slowly as Gostisbehere make it back into the zone. Caught by Thompson. 9:23 to go in the first period. It is 6-3 Carolina. On the shot boards, and the Hurricanes, 2006 Stanley Cup champions, looking to repeat that success this year, 19 years later. We'll be right back with you in just a moment. Between these two, 142 penalty minutes. On the April 2nd bout, it got very testy at the end, in which it included a line brawl. Mark Jankowski and Nick Dowd were in the midst of that as both teams were throwing haymakers. Brandon Duhaime, Dylan Chatfield with a body slam full on at Connor McMichael. In the midst of that, he and Brandon Duhaime were in the midst of that, 142 combined penalty minutes on the April 2nd game. This rivalry only building upwards. 2019 is the first meeting in the playoffs. This is the second meeting between these two teams. The Stadium Series, also one that Canes fans would never forget. Pierre-Luc Dubois on the false start. Like to do this over again. Aho. Like to do it again and one more time. And Aho wins it. Help from Jackson Blake. Svechnikov fires it and bounces off a body. Loose in the front. And that was chipped away by Wilson with Aho at the side of Thompson's cage. From the near half boards, this is a fierce puck battle once more. Escaping with his McMichael, but up ahead of Chikrin was Aho to back check. 7-3, the shots on goal in favor of the Canes, but nobody could solve either one of these two netminders. Those shots out 5-on-5 for the Caps. And now goes one the Capitals. Svechnikov gets it back onto the left point. That shot was blocked in front again. Svechnikov. And that was up tight on Thompson. 8:43 to go in this first period. And now a scuffle. Who else would be involved in it? Tom Wilson. Wilson's a part of it. No doubt about that. And among the players remaining for the 2019 series, on Carolina, Jordan Staal, Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov, Jordan Martinook, Jacob Slavin, among those. For Carolina, Rob Brindamore is also a mainstay from that. Washington, Alex Ovechkin, Tom Wilson, John Carlson, among those three players that remain from the 2019 series. Nick Dowd as well. Deep shot off the post. That almost beat Logan Thompson as it went by him from Shane Gostisbehere's point shot. Canes hold it in. And tight. Martinook fired it one wide. Now all the way back, walking the boys. Walker again. No deflection in there. Jarvis on the hold. Back for Martinook. There was a stick in the lane that ended that. From the near corner. Bounces over to the near half boards for Walker. In tight. Battling with it. As the Caps are trying to wrestle it out. Matt Roy was there, recollecting his Protus in his second game back. Caps will take it up. They'll instead dump it in, as Duhaime doesn't see any options. No shots at 5-on-5 for the Caps. Several body checks in the way there as players go down like bowling pins. Alexiev saw it get poked out of the zone, and here's a takeaway from Jordan Staal. He has no help with him. Staal will then go off to the bench and end his shift. 9-3 the shots in favor of Carolina. As Taylor Hall trying to get this one back. Moving up through center. Here's the drop pass. Dylan Strome holds it. Strome had that one bounced off a body. And right behind, no takeaways, Beauvillier sets up a one-timer to the right side, blocked in front. Chatfield wanted to get this one out, but can't. Strome on the hold. Checked by Kotkaniemi with stick from the right point. This one fired wide. From the near half board, Stankoven gets it moving forward. And Taylor Hall sends this one down, no icing. Collected at the near corner by Kotkaniemi. Sent it over right behind the cage. Here's Hall, keeps it inside. Sean Walker's shot bounced off a skate. Leonard picks it up. Rookie out of Boston College trying to make the move around Gostisbehere. Leonard fires one right onto Anderson. And the Canes will move it up the near side. Taylor Hall slows it down through that side of the ice. Hall backhands one towards the net. That one swept away, while collecting it's Walker to keep it inside. Sandin will go the other way. Sandin sends it behind for Carlson. John Carlson seeing both teams make their changes. A relentless pressure here at the course of this contest. Up the near side. Here's Brent Burns who takes it the other way. Bounces up onto Thompson who will just cover. 4:01 of offensive zone time for the Canes. The Caps have just 1:46 of offensive zone time. That's heavily skewed because of the 2-minute power play. They did not have a lot of zone time at 5-on-5. And Gostisbehere came the closest to breaking the bank open. Just fired it off the inside the post. Thompson never saw it. And in the meantime, Andrew Mangiapane is in the locker room to get some repairs onto him because he got stung up high after taking a stick block from Dmitry Orlov. Brent Burns on the shot that was blocked in front. The Caps wanting to get it out. They've been harassed all game long here. It's just the first period. Svechnikov to Blake. Blake and Eller run into each other. Aho gets a stick onto it. So does Svechnikov to keep it inside. But all it finds was Sandin, who was stick lifted twice. Sandin gets knocked down. And Anderson will place one out away. But there's a capital dare. He's back onto his crease. McMichael. Here's a broken stick on the ice. Near that far half boards. The Canes get this one out. Just enough so they can make it their changes. 25-11 the shot attempts in favor of Carolina. With 5:40 to go here in the first. Chychrun up the near side. It was a ticket away from Chatfield. And all the way back. A little bump on Jarvis from Dubois. Up the far side. Near that broken stick. Stahl. His teammate trying to get this one out. But the Caps ferociously hold it inside. Protas will have to reset with Dubois. Up the far side, Dubois. And this will be sent inside. Orlov the first one back as he skates over that broken stick. Here one, the Caps go down. There's going to be a penalty against Washington. And Orlov was clipped up right behind Freddie's crease. It's going to be Brandon Duhaime going to the box. 2 for holding. As Orlov got tangled up by his former team. The two were never teammates. But Orlov knows the Capitals so well. But there was a clip from behind by Duhaime. And that's a no-no. Canes to the power play when we return. Rob Brindamore wants his guys to see the goal for what it is. the Stanley Cup, and they want to make their presence felt here. They have well-rounded scoring up and down the lineup, but they need to convert on their high-danger chances. They need to get to the net. This top power play group, consisting of Aho, Jarvis, Svechnikov, Blake, and Gostisbehere. Caps PK consisting of Dowd, Wilson, Carlson, and Roy. 2 righties on this PK group for the Caps to begin things up as they're countering the Canes power play begins now. Jarvis over to Aho, who backhands one across. Gostisbehere on the hole, flips it over to the near corner. Svechnikov gets tied up, but he finds the open Jarvis at the top of the point. Jarvis finding Aho. Back at the point, Jarvis. Top of the right circle is Gostisbehere. Aho finding Gostisbehere cross ice. Goes back for Jarvis. Jarvis trying to open things up. Skates around that point. Jarvis going to Gostisbehere. Gostisbehere out of position here. He wants to trade places with Jarvis. Jarvis sends on off the far corner. That was Gostisbehere sending one there. And then Aho finding Jarvis one more time. Jarvis. Now Gostisbehere's back at the point. Aho. Wilson tried to stick it away. Gostisbehere and Aho keep it alive. Aho, long drive. Now it's down in front. Jarvis kept this one alive. Gostisbehere. Svechnikov is open. Goes back to him. Gostisbehere looks over across for Jarvis. Seth Jarvis looking up at the top and bottom of the right circle. Now it's Aho. He and Jarvis trade places. He and Svechnikov play some catch. Now back for Jarvis. Aho one more time. Aho from the high slot. This bounced out. 49 seconds left on the power play. Carolina spent the entirety in the O-zone. But not a lot of dangerous looks. They need to keep on going. Alex Ovechkin sitting at 896 career NHL goals. Taking a breather. He's more known for the offense as the second power play group gets out there for the Canes. Jesperi Kotkaniemi like a black eye as a result of the Dawson Mercer high stick in Game 5 that got the Canes to a 4-minute power play. The Caps win this faceoff, and Sean Walker gets tied up, and this goes back all the way, and the Caps will take it up with Connor McMichael. McMichael gets hauled down, and Rasmus Sandin, one-timer, blocked across. Taylor Hall moves it up the far side. Hall will enter it himself. Hall sets up Stankoven. Stankoven sets up Kotkaniemi at the top of the left circle. Burns and Kotkaniemi will look back. Another drop pass for Burns. Across for Hall. One-timer! Loose out in front! Stankoven right there. Gonna whack this one home. 13 on the man of edge. Burns sends one wide. It'll be Kotkaniemi keeping it going live. Burns fakes the shot. Will deliver to Kotkaniemi. Another shot. Bounced off of Thompson. Hall with 2. With 1. Power play over as it went wide of Burns. And out the box is Duhaime. This will make its way towards Anderson. Will place it out the far side. 3 minutes to go here in the first period. Shots are 10-4 Carolina. Washington crowd on their feet here. As will be picked up by Ovechkin, who is back on the ice. Hounded from behind by Aho. From the far corner, the Caps send it up towards their own bench. Chatfield stick that one away, and the Canes lead the rush on the way back. Jordan Martinook backhands one. Loose right in front of Thompson. Kept in by Chatfield on the field clear. Chatfield shot. That may have gotten a piece of Thompson. Caps sweeping away out to the near corner. They'll pick it up with Carlson. Carlson, big hit by Aho. Ovechkin sends one all the way across for Strome. Strome sets up Dubois, intercepted as the lane was red. Up the far side, played ahead. Dubois holding it off with one stick. A play for Leonard as Svechnikov held the zone inside. Made its way towards Thompson, who will cover. 31-12 the shot attempts in favor of the Hurricanes. Matt Roy and Svechnikov getting into one another. The Canes pushing the pressure here early. Getting the majority of the scoring chances as Taylor Hall got one for the top of the right circle, but they need to get to the net. Find the dirty areas of the ice. That's been a struggle over the last few years because they're not finding the dirty areas of the ice. Joe 7 to go here first period, where the shots are 12-4 Canes. It's face off to the right of Thompson. Won by the Canes against Svechnikov. Deep one-timer. Bounced up high. And that's 6 minutes of offensive zone time for the Canes as opposed to the Caps 2:09. 2:02 left in this first period. another face-off win as Svechnikov gets set up. Might bounce off the crossbar. Another face-off win by the Canes. That's their 11th. Dangling around as Gostisbehere sets up Walker. Walker with an open look. Bounced off someone. Aho on the hole. Back for Gostisbehere and then Walker. One more time. He'll look down low. Walker's pass bounced off Duhaime, but he's able to hold his own. Svechnikov with 5 goals in the opening round, which is a franchise series record in a single series. Passes glove down by one of the Canes as Walker gets spun around and tied up. Up for Jackson Blake, up for the middle, 1-on-2. Quick one-timer by Aho. Caught Thompson by surprise, he made the pad save. The Caps started for their own zone. They have just 4 shots in this first period as Roy. Moved in for Duhaime. Back for Roy. Towards the net, backhander. Anderson to stop. That's just their second shot on 5-on-5 in this game with 1:18 to go. The Canes wanted to break that one up, but Candice Duhaime flipped it in front for the open Roy. Anderson quickly closed off the 5-hole to deny Roy the chance. He was going up high, up the seam. Bounced off of him. He's able to hold the zone. Used his body to block that shot. 13-5. Still, it's a Carolina shot advantage. Here in the Eastern Conference Semifinals. Anderson, 159 GA, 946 save percentage. Left game 4 of an injury. Was out for game 5. But now he's back. He's calm and poised. Chatfield moves his one away from danger. Up the near side the ice. Jarvis flipped it over to the slot. Thompson played this one out. Held at the point. This point shot may have bounced off of something in front and made its way to Thompson with 1:05 to go. He throws the puck. Freddie Anderson, electric throughout. The collision he had with Timo Meier, what looked ugly as Meier could not slow down his momentum, or he ran right into Anderson without slowing down his momentum. But nonetheless, a bad side New Jersey at Newark. To the left of Thompson are Nick Dowd and Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Tie up on the draw. Kotkaniemi is tossed out. He's going to go on the right wing. It's 12-5 to faceoffs in favor of Carolina. Stankoven wins one cleanly. Here's Burns pivoting. Shot is blocked. Caps want to pick it up, but we're in the final minute of the first period. Up the near side. Down goes one of the Caps. Stankoven flipped it over towards the Canes bench, and it is Slavin who fires around for the far boards. First one back is Chikrin. Chikrin turns the Kane away, and Burns trying to fit it in the pressure. All the way back in the Kane zone is Slavin, who beats out Dow. Backhands one up the near side for Burns, and then up the far side. Carolina looks to get back up, but the Caps stick that one away on the attempted entry. But a mishandled pass has this puck going all the way back. Carlson will see this puck go towards him on the pass back. Dylan Strome up the near side for Wilson. Wilson gets shoved once by Chatfield. Orlov trying to play it out for the far side. This bounced up and the Caps will settle it down. Wilson, that pass was blocked on the attempted one-timer. Another try. That was also blocked too by Orlov. 2 seconds and 1, and this will go behind Anderson. And game 1 will see the first period end scoreless. But the heavy shot differential, 37-14, in favor of Carolina, is the story. The shot attempts between the two of them. So when we come back, it'll be the first intermission report. We go over this game and the crazy 4-day stretch of sports. We go over the NHL games from those two games, yesterday's two NBA games, and today's crazy Champions League match. We'll be right back in a moment. I'm Alec Nava. Scoreless first period in which Carolina was dominating Washington early on. Freddie Anderson 5 of 5, Logan Thompson 12 of 12. Throughout the first period, the shot attempts are what is the difference. 37 shot attempts for the Hurricanes, 14 shot attempts for the Capitals. They did not have a 5-on-5 shot on goal until past the midway mark of the first period. The first free for Washington came on their power play. I am Alec Nava. As we take a look at the stats, 15-12 to hits in favor of the Canes, 13-5 to face-offs. In terms of block shots, 15-5 Washington, takeaways 2-1 Carolina, giveaways 5-3. As we go over the craziest 4-day stretch of games. And while Icevert was the first one to post it on Twitter, I actually agree with him. This is one of the greatest 4-day stretches of sports in recent memory. It began with a comeback victory for the Dallas Stars on the Colorado Avalanche, led by former Av Mikko Rantanen. The first ever third period Game 7 hat-trick in NHL history. The first ever Game 7 multi-goal comeback to be completed in regulation in NHL history. The fourth ever Game 7 multi-goal comeback in NHL history, joining 2013 Bruins Leafs, 2019 Sharks Knights, 2019 Caps Canes. That this is the first one of them to be completed in regulation. The first three went to overtime. And as for that, Rantanen gets the hat trick. Wyatt Johnston got the winner at the 16:04 mark of the third period. Johnston absolutely clutch when it comes to Game 7s. He's now got 2 game winners in Game 7s and an opener in Game 7. In the 3 Game 7s he's played, and he's only 21 years old. Rantanen seals the deal with an empty netter. A complete and insane comeback for the Stars. Jake Ottinger, 25 of 27. He was reliable down the stretch. The Manitoba Miracle on the day after. Jordan Kyrou and Matthew Joseph opened the scoring for the Blues in that game to make it 2-0 Blues in the first period. Cole Perfetti got one back on a power play on a deflection from Kyle O'Connor's shot. 11:41 into the second period, then Radek Faksa makes it 3-1 Blues with 35 seconds left in the frame. The Jets needed something in the third period. And with less than 2 minutes left, they did something amazing. First goal was Vladislav Namestnikov, filling in for an injured Mark Scheifele to get at the goal that brought the Jets back to life. 1:56 to go. Neil Pionk and Dylan Sandberg the assist. Then Cole Perfetti, with 3 seconds to go, scored the latest tying goal in Game 7 NHL history, besting the record set by Matt Cook of the Vancouver Canucks in 2004 against the Calgary Flames, when he scored 5 seconds to go. The Flames would win that game in overtime thanks to Marty Jelinas' first of 3 series-clinching goals. Perfetti from Kyle Connor and Nikolai Ehlers with 3 seconds left to send to overtime. The game had an official time span of 96 minutes and 10 seconds, making it the third longest Game 7 in NHL history. And it'll be ended with St. Louis native Adam Lowry deflecting a shot from Neil Pionk from the point. Kyle Connor set it up from down low. Lowry, having dual citizenship with the United States and Canada, gets the winner for his team, the team that he captains. And yesterday, the craziness would continue with 2 games to remember in the NBA. First, the New York Knicks and Mikal Bridges. They saved the day in overtime. Bridges gets the game-saving steal on Jaylen Brown, with Brown trying to tie the game for free. The Celtics were missing 3-pointers left and right. They fired 60 3-pointers, making just 15 of them. They were 22-26 from the line. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown each had 23 points. But both of them were wildly inefficient. 7-23 is Tatum, Brown 7-20. And that's even more so from free. Tatum was 4-15 from free. Brown is 1 of 10 from free in that game. And while Tatum added 16 rebounds, Derek White 19 points, 11 rebounds. Drew Holiday 16 points, 6 rebounds. People talk about Tatum. I know that's a common denominator. But oh my goodness. Why is the free and why oh why are the 3-point shots not sinking? It isn't just Tatum, it's Derek White and Jaylen Brown too. The 3-point shot was not falling for them. Drew Holiday 2 of 7 from free. Derek White 5 of 16 from free. And he was 6 of 18 overall. And the Knicks, they capitalized on those misses. 29 points each from OG Anunoby and Jalen Brunson. With Karl Anthony Towns adding 14 points, 13 rebounds. Bridges had 3 steals, the biggest one on Brown, to seal the game in overtime. Josh Hart, 14 points, 11 rebounds in that win. 11 off the bench for Deuce McBride, as Tom Thibodeau, with 9 players on the rotation, though Precious Achiuwa and Cam Payne had played 5 and 3 minutes respectively. The other game, another comeback victory, with the Denver Nuggets catching the Oklahoma City Thunder from behind. But that was, in my opinion, even though the score may suggest a thriller, this game was basically a comedy of errors by both teams. Air balls left and right. Oh my goodness, so many air balls. And then the Nuggets make a defensive blunder in which they allow Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to walk to the basket untouched. And then Chet Holmgren missed 2 free throws with a chance to go up by 3. Oh my god. That game, even though it may suggest a thriller, that did not look like a good game in my eyes. Nikola Jokic with 42 points, 22 rebounds, 6 assists, his first career 40-20 game in the playoffs. 15-29 for the line. He made 10 of 13 from the stripe. SGA, 33 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. Just 2 nights away from a triple-double. He is 12 of 26. 2 of 6 from free, 7 of 9 from the stripe. And all around, everyone delivered among starting fives and from the bench. 22 points, 14 rebounds for Aaron Gordon, who had his second game winner of this postseason to go with his buzzer-beating dunk in Game 4 against the Clippers. His game winner put the Nuggets up by 2, with the Thunder having no timeouts. Game-winning three-pointer with Russell Westbrook finding a smart feed. His second assist was the most meaningful one. He had 18 points. Jamal Murray with 21 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Christian Braun, 11 points and 13 rebounds, a game high from anyone not named Jokic. And all around for the Thunder, Alex Caruso, 20 points, 7 of 12. 6 assists, 5 steals for OKC, 2 blocks. 16 for Jalen Williams. Wily and efficient, 5 of 20 though. 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. 12 each from Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein. 9 rebounds for Ihart, 14 for Luguentz Dort among the NBA scoreline. But now we potentially get to the craziest game of this 4-day stretch. A new chapter in UEFA Champions League folklore. Inter Milan, Internazionale, they win 4-3 on extra time. They advance to the Champions League final Munich 7-6 on aggregate. The first leg was a 3-3 tie. This one, a 4-3 extra time settling. And for Internazionale, they got goals from Lautaro Martinez, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, Francesco Acerbi, and David Fratesi. Internazionale was on the brink of elimination in stoppage time in the second half, with goals from Barca from Eric Garcia, Dani Olmo, and Rafinha at the 54th, 60th, and 87th minutes. Lautaro's goal at the 21st minute, Çalhanoğlu at the 45th minute on the penalty time. But then, as Barca scores 3 unanswered, Acerbi scores in stoppage time in the second half. Then Fratesi at the 99th minute in extra time. More disc coverage at the second intermission or when we get a stoppage. I am Alec Nava. The second period is coming next. Welcome back to Washington, D.C. They're getting set for the second period of Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Semifinals. The first playoff series of this conference semis started yesterday with the Toronto Maple Leafs prevailing 5-4 in a very much heart attack filled Game 1, in which it intensified on the Anthony Stolarz collision. 12 shots, only 2 of them came from up tight. Most of them came from distance, and they didn't really test the net at that much. 2 of them from the circles at the right side. But they need to get to the puck and get towards the slot, get to the dirty areas of the ice so that they could test Logan Thompson, because he was not tested much. And Carolina needs to be aggressive and attack the net. Go towards the slot. And they spend a lot of time in the offensive zone. They need to take more chances towards the net. Third line out there to begin this second period for the Canes. Spencer Carberry is the last change. He counters with his top line. Matt Roy will take this off the opening faceoff. And here we go. Up for the near side. This is bounced up, and now this will be collected down by Carolina with Jordan Martinook fighting Seth Jarvis, who is tied up. Jarvis has to step out, and Chatfield will slap it inside for the far side. 6:30 to 2:24. The offense's own time well in favor of Carolina. This is gloved down and taken up and out by the Caps. 15-4 to block shots. Caps advantage, not an area in which they want to be leading at. Up the near side, Ovechkin right in front! And there's a bump there to prevent a shot. And here's Martinook up the far side. Martinook will send one up for Jordan Staal. Taken right behind the net. Staal from the far corner. On for the far half boards. This gets bounced off of Thompson and out. Periods of at least 30 shot attempts. When you include the Hurricanes, including playoffs, 70. The rest of the NHL, 37. So Andrew Mangiapane, who left the first period for a while, is back on the bench to begin the second period. Got some repairs in the meantime. And off this faceoff is Carolina taking it up. Jacob Slavin sends one in on goal. It makes a bounce towards the slot, and it stayed out. Logan Thompson turned away as there's a 2-on-2. Brent Burns trying to rush back right around towards the goal. Falling down a wraparound attempt was Dylan Strome as Jackson Blake took it away, but it bounced off Tom Wilson. Towards the slot, picked up by McMichael. McMichael gets forced out, and the Canes do not have any time setting up a breakout. But the far side, though, move it calmly. And up the near side, this gets deflected up and gloved down by Carlson. John Carlson sends one around as Brent Burns up the far side. Takes a bounce right in front. And this one up and over. Held inside by Alexiev. Wilson over to Dubois off that grade A chance by the Caps. Tom Wilson wanting to counter here. Back towards the point. A slapper here from Trevor Van Riemsdyk. And Freddie Anderson covers strong. A much better start for the Capitals here in the second period as they are getting the turnovers. A grade A chance as this one hit the crossbar for Pierre-Luc Dubois. Just like in the first period, which Andrei Svechnikov hit the post on the closest chance that the Canes have went. It went over the glove of Freddie Anderson, but it did not beat the post. Dubois back out there with Mark Jankowski. Dubois wins it. Back onto the left point. Deep shot. Never made it all the way through. Onto the near half boards. And then a race for the puck. All the way back. Winning the race. And a hit right on Eric Robinson by Alexiev. Up the far corner. Carrier wanting to hold it for Jankowski, who too is tied up. Carrier. Poke free. The Caps pick it up. Swiping it on the backhand. And picked up at center ice for Eller. And here's Leonard. Ryan Leonard wants to set one up, but it's made its way softly towards Anderson. 2:14 to go in the second period. Later tonight, it is the Edmonton Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights at 9:30 Eastern. John Ott will have you guys covered there. Tomorrow, be Game 2 between the Panthers and Maple Leafs, and Game 1 between the Stars and Jets. At the Stars and Jets game. Game 1 of that series tomorrow night. 9:30 Eastern Time. Canes win the face-off at their own zone. They flip this up for center. Stankoven couldn't get his stick onto the puck, and the Caps will pick this one up. Through the middle, this is flipped inside for Strome. Ovechkin for the left circle, flipping this one down low for Beauvillier. Anthony Beauvillier, haven't had a chance to say his name too much. It was Ovechkin centering pass, knocked away from Matt Roy. Kotkaniemi gloves it down. Ovechkin swinging a miss on the shot, and the Canes come back with numbers. 3-on-2, they hurry up. Jalen Chatfield sets up at the near half boards. And on the other side is Taylor Hall. Puts one in on goal, but it bounced off Thompson. Stankoven couldn't get the rebound. Roy will start again with the puck at the near side for Washington. Dylan Strome flips it up for Anderson, who plays it over towards the far corner for Stahl. Stahl tied up by Beauvillier, plays it up for center, and Carlson that's offside. 15-8, the shots, Carolina. After 210 minutes and 13 goals, Internacional is in their second Champions League final in 3 years, surviving 3 outstanding Barca comebacks to eliminate the La Liga side 7-6 on aggregate. David Fratesi scored the winning goal in extra time for free. Came back from down 2-0 and 3-2 in the first leg to draw 3-3. Early produced the another string turnaround to remove that comeback attempt. Up the far side, the Canes will look to move it up, but in the way is Nick Dowd. Gostisbehere prevents the entry for the Caps. Martinook from Jarvis. Martinook flips it back for Jarvis, and here's Jordan Stahl at the far corner. Stahl keeping a hold of the puck as it bounced off of him. Now down low at the far corner for Jarvis. Jarvis will send a whip around pass for Stahl. Last remaining Stahl brother to be active in the NHL after retirements of Mark and Eric Stahl. From the left point, Shane Gostisbehere. Over towards Sean Walker for a deep shot that gets blocked in front. Martinook keeps it alive, but there's nobody at the near corner. Martinook can't hold it, and it's Pride out of the play. And here comes the Capitals hero, Protas. Protas has now with him. Protas scores! Welcome back, Alexei Protas! Protas improved on odd man rushes throughout the season as this puck was poked away at the neutral zone by him from Shane Gostisbehere. He speeds up down the near side right after poking the puck away with the help from Brandon Duhaime to set up a 2-on-1 situation. Nick Dowd was close up, so he decides to shoot this one himself. Aims far side on Anderson and beats him glove side. And now, he played out by Anderson towards the far corner. Picked up now by Brent Burns with Tom Wilson putting the boom on him. First career playoff goal for Protas after having 30 in the regular season. A career high for him and was a breakout year. Burns left it right behind for Aho. Now it's Burns. Burns will set up for Aho as he's streaking down the lane. Almost overskate the puck, send one around for the far corner. Blake got boxed out. It's held in by Carolina, but can't do so any further. Up the middle, this is Rasmus Sandin across the line, gets set up in front, and McMichael couldn't get a stick onto the puck. Jackson Blake tied him up. Aho, back the other way, goes near side into the zone. Aho towards the left point for Svechnikov, who fires it off the far corner. Sweeping this one away is Washington as Carolina makes changes. Lars Eller puts this one right behind Thompson's crease. Logan Stankoven watches ours. For the far side, sent up for the ice. Near side, coming in is Mangiapane. Set up in front. Puck is too hot to handle. It comes back for Mangiapane at the near corner. Tie up there. There are several poke checks in the way. Gostisbehere sent this one out as Alexiev overskated it and lost it. Sends this one out for the far boards. And then back. Van Riemsdyk. And Alexiev had Kotkaniemi in pursuit. This is flipped down the ice. It's an icing. Icing to call against Washington. As we get the puck here. Opportunistic on the chances as Brandon Duhaime poked this one away. Wins the board battle. And off the near side. 80.7 miles an hour. The shot speed as Protas goes on his off wing. Normally goes up the left side, but he's comfortable going on the right side regardless. He had 13 goals in his first 3 seasons in the NHL, and now his breakout year is prevailing. Jankowski wins the faceoff with some help. Back around, it comes back to him on the keep from the left point. Washington trying to exit zone and will be sent up down the ice. And a pursuit the puck won by Dmitry Orlov, who sent it across to Jalen Chatfield. Chatfield whips it around from the far side for Robinson. Robinson, Van Riemsdyk got shoved by Carrier. Robinson comes away with the puck. Back around for Carrier. Carrier onto the right point. Chatfield mishandled it. It'll come back for Anderson. Anderson up for the right side. Chatfield restarts again. Up the left side. It'll come back towards Orlov, who flips it down all the way. Settled down by Chikrin. And a shove at that side of the boards for the far side. In the goal differential, the Hurricanes are -2 at 5-on-5, +7 on special teams. That's been throughout the first round series against the Devils. Now it's at -3 at 5-on-5. New Jersey actually outscored them 11-9 at even strength. And up the near side, Aho set up behind. Svechnikov rips one. And Thompson will cover up. Tried to shoot one from well far out. Andrei Svechnikov had 5 goals in the opening round against New Jersey. And Alexei Protas gets his first career playoff goal. We'll be right back in a moment here in DC. The intensity is ramped up here, and Spencer Carberry knows that he needs to get his team re-energized after having just 14 shot attempts in the first period. They were outshot heavily, 12-5. Here they got 4 shots in the opening 7 minutes of play here as we come back here to action. Canes trying to tie the game up at 1 apiece. 8-5 the shots in favor of the Caps here in terms of shot attempts. Wilson with a nice move around Blake and gets it back. Backhands one deep with Dubois in pursuit. Pierre-Luc Dubois sets it up. He gets sticked away by Burns. Backhanded one out, and then leading the hustle the other way is Svechnikov. Andrei Svechnikov tries to put a move on Rasmus Sandin. Sandin stay with him. Deep shot, not deflected inside. Aho on the keep. On the right circle. Aho will drop it back. Here's Gostisbehere with a fake, and this one set wide the cage. Centering pass didn't go to anywhere, and Sean Walker's out there. Gostisbehere for Walker. Walker fires one that was blocked out of play. 8:24 zone time for the Canes as opposed to the Caps 4:05. Caps have the advantage as they ramped up zone time and they addressed the need for the sense of urgency. So as the Protus line gets back out there, this fourth line open the scoring here for the Caps. Game 1 of this series. 17-9 the faceoffs in favor of the Canes. The Kotkaniemi line is out there up against the Dowd line. And it'll be Kotkaniemi getting tossed out. Stankoven will take his place. And Kotkaniemi's had trouble with if Folk starts on the faceoffs. Dowd has not won a faceoff before this point. He finally gets one on his 9th try. Gostisbehere is all the way back. And he'll send it across over to Walker. Now it goes back to him. Gostisbehere to Walker. Sean Walker moves it up the far side. This will be picked up now by John Carlson. Carlson's whip around pass to Protus. He was wide open the near half boards, but it's held inside. Takes a bounce and right onto a capital stick. Up the far side, Carlson sent this one around. And Kotkaniemi gets run into on the reverse hit by Protus. Stankoven moves it up through the middle. On the rush here through the middle side. Gostisbehere on the trailer. Sends one in on goal. It takes a bounce right behind. Falling down with Stankoven as the Canes keep this one inside the zone. Walking to play is Kotkaniemi. Kotkaniemi's deep shot blocked in front. Thompson was ready in the case if it bounced off of him. It goes all the way back onto the Canes' blue line and taken back inside by Kotkaniemi, who fires one across the ice for Stankoven. Stankoven, centering pass, was blocked out by Dowd, and this clear could not be gloved down by the Canes. And this race for the puck, it will be played out by Anderson, so no icing on this line change. Fire back inside by the Canes. First to it is Alexiev as the Cats will pick it up. Protus tied up by Jankowski, the Canes' fourth line back out there. Up the near side, deflect inside off Carrier. Alexiev played it to the far half boards. Bounced out off Jankowski, but recollected by the Caps. And up the near side, here's Beauvillier around Jalen Chatfield. Beauvillier slammed at the near corner, and he gets hounded down. Lost his stick in the process. Robinson will counter back with this puck. Up the near side, Robinson wanting to blow by Roy, and does so, gets a shove, and from the near half boards, recollected by the Caps as they clear it out. Slavin to Burns, up the far side, Robinson brings it back. Jankowski, centering pass, and it could not be fired home by Carrier. For the near side, now in the middle, for Eller. Eller evades one checking man, fired around the far side onto the near corner to Mangiapane. Mangiapane goes back for Eller. Ryan Leonard's back out there. For the far half boards, no hit from Jordan Stahl, and it's sent up for the far side as the Canes look to get back onto the zone. They will. Seth Jarvis firing one, and glove save by Logan Thompson. Seth Jarvis used the defenseman in front of the screen. Mangiapane wanted the better force defensively at his own, and he likes to defend. Just standing in there to prevent the shot from going to the angle which Jarvis wanted it to go. Tries to go glove side. There's a quick flash of the glove to get that all the way out. A stumble down the stretch, but nothing doing there for the Canes. 1-0 Capitals here. The only goal from Protus being the one that stands. Aho wins the faceoff. He'll get it back onto the right point. Bounced off Walker and now back. Swinging a miss on Aho. Svechnikov able to hold. Wraparound try. Didn't make his way towards the net. Dubois gets bodied off. Down goes Aho. Svechnikov kept this one alive. Carlson and Chikrin in the way. Blake kept this one but cops it up. And the Caps will lead the way 3-on-2 on the rush back. For the far side. Now here's Tom Wilson who's open right in front. And they think they've scored and stayed out. The Canes will move back the other way. Jackson Blake to Sebastian Aho. Sets up front. And the tap-in was not there. Wilson will drop it off on the rush back. Flipping it off the boards. Gostisbehere shoved away by Dubois. Bounced over towards the low slot where a Canes defense was there. Aho has 3 straight multi-point games, which is tied for playoff career high. High shot caught by Thompson. Handle of ease from Sean Walker. Thompson's locked into his A game. So when we come back, we're at the midway mark of the second period. Later tonight, the top 2 picks of the 2015 draft will face off. Alec Nava here with you. We'll be right back. first period, the Canes were pressuring all over the Caps. The second period, the Caps were pressuring all over the Canes in the first half of this frame. And they got rewarded with the Alexei Protas goal. The Canes answered back with some pressure of their own, but they're never able to crack open on Logan Thompson. In the regular season, the Canes averaged 3.24 goals per game. And the Caps averaged 3.49 goals per game, 9th and 2nd respectively. Shot attempts per game, Canes 70.2, which is first. For the Caps, 59.5, 17th. Shot quality is what matters. It's quality, not quantity. For the far side, is held inside the zone after the Caps face-off win. It comes to Eller, but can't get it out. And this goes wide to Thompson. On the left point, Slavin. This bounced up and about. Ryan Leonard can't get his stick onto it as it's held inside. Jankowski comes back inside. Robinson tied up. Race for the puck in the far quarters, won by Van Riemsdyk. A bounce here onto the far half boards as the Canes want to keep it. And it's still loose. And for a moment, it looked like the Canes were going to hold it, but it's Van Riemsdyk in control. The former Hurricane, now on the other side of it all. Leonard moves up the near side, but gets whacked away. It was part that Van Riemsdyk was not part of that 2019 series, but up the far side, it's sent across. And this is a whistle here. I think that Van Riemsdyk, he actually was on that 2019 series. And Orlov was in that 2019 series on the opposite side. So both teams were on the opposite side of things between these two. As my web browser is not responding, so we are in a bit of a technical difficulty, everyone. So now we'll have to get reset. Now let's back up. So we're getting back to action here. As the Caps are in the zone, it went up. And on the near side boards, Carlson will move it around. Strome was boxed out by Orlov. Chatfield bumps Beauvillier. Ovechkin threw it away down. Right on an unsuspecting case, Carlson kept it in. Strome shot, centering pass, made its way to Anderson, who made the stop. And Ovechkin boxes out. Here's Beauvillier, fired it wide. Ovechkin's been everywhere. He's been setting the tone everywhere. We had one great chase come to succession. And it goes out the rink and out of play. The grade 8 showcasing his toughness and his physicality. Trevor Van Riemsdyk, part of the 2019 series, as a member of the Hurricanes. So he and Orlov were on opposite sides. As Ovechkin hit an unsuspecting Seth Jarvis, and moments later, Jordan Staal. As Beauvillier, Anderson made 2 saves on the Caps here. 3,743 career hits. First since tracking began in 2006. The Canes pride free with Jacob Slavin moving it up for Andrei Svechnikov. Here's Jackson Blake holding on. Nobody there on the centering pass onto the left circle. Up at the front, Svechnikov keeping his one alive. Gets shoved to the near corner. Want to fire this one around, but was not able to. Aho trying to hold his own at the left point. Up in the air. This is up for grabs between both clubs. And taking it up is Mangiapane. Was sticked away. Burns also there. Exited out over to the Cap zone. Picked up at the far half boards by Mangiapane one more time. Blake is back out there. Up the far boards it goes. Nothing there as Brent Burns will move it across rink wide for Slavin. Brent Burns, will this be his last hurrah? It's that clear as Dumpin was gloved down and red. Slavin going back for Gostisbehere. Connecting back with Slavin, who gets boxed away, but able to help out is one of his teammates. Free on free as they enter inside with Taylor Hall. Moving up the near side. Hall, rink wide. Couldn't find open him player. Walker to Gostisbehere. This third pairing back out there for Carolina. Gostisbehere walked right in front, and coming back to it, it's Walker. Sean Walker moving up to the far half boards. A shove as Kotkaniemi got wrestled down towards the ground. 2-on-2 on the way back. One Cane gets back. Whip around pass. Now again it's a 2-on-2. Fourth line again. Looking as Chikrin, who looks for deflection. Nothing there. Sending pass. Protas jumbled up. Swinging a miss on the first try, but it's controlled down again. Moved up the near side for Stankoven. Logan Stankoven looks back up to the near half boards for Kotkaniemi. He is forced out onto the left point for Gostisbehere. Now walking is Walker. Sean Walker. That pass doesn't go all the way, and it's picked up at the corner. For the far side, all the way back for Carrier. And here's Sean Walker faking a one-timer. Rolling around is William Carrier. Gostisbehere long shot. Bounced off of Thompson. Will be scooped up at the far corner by the Canes. And a soft shot from Carrier. Here's Stankoven. Glove save. Thompson. Logan Thompson showcasing his brilliance here tonight in Game 1. The pressure is going up on the Capitals net a lot more as Logan Thompson flashed the letter on Canes left and right. We'll be back. Hurricanes looking to get back here on the score sheet. These two veterans, Taylor Hall and Freddie Anderson, have been rewarded with contract extensions. Anderson 1 year, $2.75 million. Hall 3 years, $3.17 million per year, as is tracked by Puckpedia and Cap Wages. These two, the old guard on the team, but they've been signed to team-friendly contracts. Sebastian Aho and Pierre-Luc Dubois to take the face-off. And this will be taken to the right of Thompson. Won by Aho as it's sent back. Here's Chatfield. That shot was blocked. The puck comes on a stick check. Chatfield wanted to get this one going but could not. Wilson sent this one inside but nothing more. The Canes looking to counter. Restarting up is Carlson. Wilson's tied up. Dubois helps him through the far side. And this is through right behind the crease, where it'll be settled down by Birds. Up the far side, moving in for Svechnikov. Going one-on-one. Svechnikov, and a stick save by Thompson. Svechnikov shaking his head. He had 5 goals in the first round. None here so far, but he had several good looks. And he takes the pass up from... And that was actually a shot off the bar. Ooh, he ran... That, you could hear the ping from distance. All the way from just outside the spectating area. You could hear that if you're trying to get something for the concessions. Jankowski to take the face-off. A false start against Dubois. So McMichael, I think, will take it his place. 18-11, Canes on the shot board. Jankowski wins it. Aho fighting Jankowski. Carry a long shot. That one redirected wide. And Andrew Mangiapane will restart for Rasmus Sandin. Sandin gets decked onto the far boards or the near side. Mangiapane will try to restart, but it's held aside by the Canes. This one fired out. This one deflects out to the rink. The only penalties that came in the first period. So the second chance bracket is already live. Brackets locked tomorrow. Winner of the second chance bracket will receive an exclusive prize from the NHL. 1-0 Caps. Shots 18-11 Canes, in which they had a 37-14 shot advantage total in the first period. This face-off to the left of Thompson. Logan Thompson has been outstanding throughout the opening round, as this is A face-off won by the Canes. They are able to hold the zone as it looked like they were going to exit out. Hall was falling down. Aaron pass, and now the Caps will enter back of the zone. Beauvillier. Protas is open at the right side. Knocked away right on time. Gets back over towards the point. Two righties walking along. Roy directing over to the far corner to Duhaime. Brandon Duhaime sticked away. Duhaime tried to stay with it, but it's pried free by the Canes. Up the middle they come. And they're looking to flip it over. They will. To Kotkaniemi from Stankoven. Kotkaniemi over towards the left point. One Capital guy in the way on this chase down is Orlov. Dmitry Orlov all the way back. He'll send it up to Stankoven. 6 block shots for Duhaime, along with the assist on the Protas goal. Dump and chase as this is cleared out to the far half boards to Beauvillier. Beauvillier sent one over across to Protas, who fired one through, and it's held inside. Stankoven got boxed out with Jordan Stahl trying to hold it. All the way back it is Dmitry Orlov with Beauvillier giving chase. Orlov carrying it across onto the right point. It's sent up and collected right behind Thompson by Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Giveaway here. And Martinook shot is blocked. Loose over the left circle. It'll be collected by Stahl around for Jarvis. Third line back out there for the Canes. Orlov. Orlov fires this one. Hit his old man Martinook. Missed Stahl. And now over towards the far corner. Chatfield holds it. Stahl right behind. Martinook. Whip around pass. Couldn't reach the target. And up the far side. Dowd wanted to get this one down. It's bouncing over to Carolina's zone. And Brent Burns, with both teams changing, Jacob Slavin reiterating. Top line back out there for the Canes. Cross-ice pass. Nothing there for Jackson Blake, but it comes out to Svechnikov. Back over to the point. Slavin loads one up. Takes a block off a body. Off of Ovechkin. Right out in front. McMichael will pick it up. 23 block shots in this game, and we're not even at the end of the second period. Aho sells it down. Back for Burns as he skates around the right circle. Burns trying to scoop it up and through the far corner. Van Riemsdyk gets ran right into. And Jackson Blake boxed out the far corner. Canes have it. Slavin is over the left point. Tight shot through. Thompson turned away. Blake is all tied up. Canes once again giving chase. They keep it in. Whip around pass. Aho! Loose in front. Swept away by Dubois. A towering presence right there and on with the far board. Svechnikov got it free out to the deep right point. Here's Burns again. Bounced out. And out for the left point. Gostisbehere off the stick of McMichael, but it stayed in play. For the far half boards. Sell it back over towards the point. One-timer Svechnikov sent wide to crease. Aho sticked around and up out of play. 1:50 to go in the second period. Pierre-Luc Dubois and Sebastian Aho have wars for each other. And both Scott Cherry and Trent Norris separating the two of them. That'll take us towards our final TV timeout this third period. But the Canes are amping up the pressure here this late into the second period. Will they get the tying goal? That has yet to be figured out. Alec Nava here with you. We'll be right back. Well, never mind, because it is not a TV timeout. I thought it was, but it's illustrating that I made a gracious mistake, and Jalen Chatfield on the Washington chance sticked it away from harm's way. I thought it was a TV timeout. Here's Carrier. That was a misjudgment because Carolina blocked their own shots. Cross-ice pass. Almost went over to Robinson. Robinson is all tied up by Protas with both warp lines out there onto the ice. Carrier stick this one over towards the near side for Mangiapane. Orlov was all over him. Canes keep it into the zone. Kotkaniemi whips around and sends this one off the far boards. Or Robinson. And on the chase down, it's going to be iced. So my mistake, it's not a TV timeout. I thought we were getting it because it looked like they were going to show it. There's such a graphic came up in which they were going to go to break. But no, they were just illustrating that Carolina's blocking their own shots, quite frankly. Not the way in which you want it to go. 1-0 Caps here at the U.S. Capitol. 1:14 to go here in this second period. Eller and Kotkaniemi on the draw. It's two dramatic Game 7s between Dallas and Colorado, St. Louis and Winnipeg. Walking the point, it is Slavin who fires one around. Loose stick onto the ice and up the near corner. It's a tie-up on the battle. Hall and Stankoven both there. Stankoven pries it free. Stankoven shoved down by Eller. Eller takes it away. Up the far boards. With 54, Roy sends it up. It takes a bounce. Slavin pulls it free up the far side for Stahl, who gets boxed out by Roy. Trying to be out the back check. The shot attempts at the Protus goal. 28 for the Canes, 4 for the Caps. This one deflected inside. There was something in the way there. Jacob Chikrin prevented that from going forward. Brent Burns, his shot. No, not deflected by Slavin. Stahl wanted to keep this one alive. Tie up at the near corner. Eller whips it around. Matt Roy wanted to get this one out. Mangiapane, an extra whack. Glove down at center ice. And then back down are the Canes as they're all the way at their own zone. Up to the near side is Martinuk. Martinuk whips it forward, gets tied up, and an offside on the play of 11 seconds. It is 1-0 Washington. Carolina is dominating play here ever since the Alexei Protus goal. And what they had 28 shot attempts to Washington's 4. And do remember, in the first period, Carolina had a 37-14 shot attempt advantage. But quite frankly enough, the Canes are getting outscored at even strength by 3. As we bring John out along here, we'll get your thoughts onto this game at the second intermission when we get to that. Sebastian Aho, Nick Dowd on the faceoff circle. We have a false start. So this should be an interesting one this series.
Yeah, like as you said, I'm watching the end of the second period here, getting get set here for my game coming up next between Vegas and Edmonton. But as you mentioned, I'm looking at a lot of shot attempts one way for Carolina. They just got to find a way to hit the net and score here.
And what I want to touch on after that first at the end of that first period is that they need to go to the net more. This is fired down the ice, and it will be an icing with 2.3. So this brings the period of curiosity. Do they keep Anderson in the net, or do they pull him?
Well, we saw just yesterday, right? Craig Berube went with the pull and got Austin Matthews a shot.
It's to go 6-on-5 at the end of the second period, and there is a commotion between Jackson Blake and Nick Dowd over at the near side with 2.3. Well, you know Tom Wilson's going to chime in and be chippy with it.
That's his game.
Yep. Only player in the NHL with at least 30 goals and 200 hits in the regular season. That commotion started with Wilson getting brought down to his all fours by Sebastian Aho away from the play.
Looks like we're going to have to do this draw yet again.
So it will say 5-on-5. Yes, we'll do it again as there's a false start on Nick Dowd. Washington has 3 guys towards Thompson's crease to try and prevent Carolina from getting a last-ditch effort. Here's the quick face-off win. Oh my goodness. Yes, we'll have to do it yet again as Aho wanted to. Queenly, are they going to catch Aho for a false start?
I think that's what we got, Alan.
Oh my goodness. Not what the Canes wanted, so we'll have to do this over again. Aho and Dowd. Third time is a charm for Dowd, and the Capitals will protect a 1-0 lead here at the end of 2. And what right now it is, what one can say, the greatest 4-day stretch in sports in recent memory, based on what happened the previous 3 days and earlier today.
Yeah, you can say that. I feel bad for you and Ian. You had some rough days in the mix of it, although the games were enjoyable. A lot of them have come down to the wire on both sides between the NBA and NHL. I'm just hoping that you're feeling better, and I'm hoping that the Carolina Hurricanes can at least do something for you, because it was not a bad period for them.
Yeah, not a bad period, because when you look at it, it's 2 periods of at least 30 shot attempts for the Canes for these first 2 periods. They lead the league in such a category. It's not even close. But what I want to see more from the Canes is going to the dirty areas of the ice. Washington went to the dirty area of the ice on their goal. Carolina needs to focus more on that so that they can get the shot advantage on the way here through the third period.
Yeah, you got to be able to do that. I was going to ask you a little bit yesterday. I'm not going to stick around the whole way through because I still got to get ready, but still I wanted to join in at least a little bit and see what's been going on. But Yesterday, I saw that big win for the Toronto Maple Leafs over the Florida Panthers. I know the Panthers came back a little bit, made it a little bit too close for comfort, but the most important thing was the Maple Leafs ended up getting the win. Anthony Stolarz, admittedly, I didn't see much on the Sam Bennett side of it, but he really got injured. He got stretchered off. He was getting sick and behind the bench for testing, and now they're saying he might even be available for Game 2. I think that's needed for the Maple Leafs, but most importantly, Alec, I think they really need to take both games at Scotiabank if they want to show the Florida Panthers that they're game for this.
Yeah, they need to send a message here because Florida, they were creeping right up on their throats. That looked to be a game in which they were right up there with them. Both teams match up well with each other. But the Panthers' style of play has me wondering, are they playing dirty? That's what I'm thinking because Sam Bennett may have sneakily got away with something on Anthony Stolarz. It was just minimal contact on Stolarz. Not enough by the officials or the NHL Department of Player Safety to determine if it was dirty or not. But he has gotten away with bad acts before, dating back to his days with the Calgary Flames, and I'm wondering, why? What was the point of taking out Stolarz there? I mean, it was ever so sneakily. Not enough to determine that, and I know it's too hard to determine it because it's a judgment call by the officials and the Department of Player Safety. But after the game, Matthew Tkachuk tried to get right onto Mitch Marner's head and tried to do some post-whistle antics. Just what in the Panthers, even for the reigning Stanley Cup champions, they are the most penalized team in the league, and we're seeing why.
Yes, they are. I want to be as judicious as possible because I know we're both professional, but I agree with your assessment completely. I want to say that first and foremost. But for Sam Bennett, immediately when I saw that live, because it didn't look dangerous or dirty and it didn't look crazy, if he would have knocked his head back into the post, I think Sam Bennett would have had an easy suspension. I think we can agree on that. I will say this for Tkachuk. You could have probably had a little more of a talking to Matthew Tkachuk, more so on the Marner side than Stolarz, because that was very intentional and blatant.
Yeah, that late game scuffle in regards to Tkachuk. Toronto, they need to clean some things up from the first game. They let momentum slip away earlier in the third period, and I like that Craig Berube called timeout so as to slow the game down, so as to not let the moment catch up to them. Joseph Woll's not a bad backup, but he needs to. But if Stolarz can't go, Woll needs to step up his game. And while he's not bad, this first showing of him was a little shabby.
Yeah, it was, and I'm not sure, Alec, if we can placate that to the fact that he was the backup and he wasn't really game planning to go. That could be part of it, but you're exactly right. He's got to be much better. Yes, they did get the win. Yes, that's the most important part of it. And we can say, at least for Joseph Woll, he does have playoff experience more so than Vitek Vanacek on the other side for the Cats, but you make some excellent points, and I agree with you. When you look on the other side for Bobrovsky, it was a game that I think two of those goals, at least, Alec, he probably could have played those better. He got beat 5-hole. I didn't like a couple of those. I know he got screened partially, but Bobrovsky's able to make those saves and play better. My question to you is, I know Vitek Vanacek is technically the backup goaltender, but does Paul Maurice, even if Bobrovsky, let's say he gets roughed up in Game 2 and Game 3, I still don't think they would go to Vitek Vanacek.
There's no way they go to Vanacek. Even for Bobrovsky being 36 and age starting to show up, I don't think there's any chance that Paul Maurice goes to Vitek Vanacek because Vanacek is a far cry from what he was in Washington.
Right. Yeah, and again, that was something that I thought of. It's more important for Toronto to get both of those games and get you there, but I don't even think Florida's got a backup they can rely on. So if Toronto can take advantage of Big Bob, they might have a chance. I know you've been saying that more than I have, and I have to give you full marks. Toronto looked very good in that game. Third period aside got a little shaky. You're right about the timeout, but the most important thing was getting the win. And now we'll see. And between this game, Carolina finds a way to get a couple goals on the board here and get past Logan Thompson. I think they're going to be game for this and probably take it. They're looking at Alexei Protas. It scares me on the other side, Alec, when you mentioned for Protas. they got a younger brother in the Hershey Bears that he's going to be ready to be dominating as well. You see Ryan Leonard. I have to give the Caps a lot of credit alongside Spencer Carberry. This has got to be one of the very best organizations in the NHL.
Yeah, and Carberry's just his second year coaching. He managed to take the Capitals to the top seed in the Eastern Conference. What a coming it is for Protas, because this is his first career playoff goal in just his sixth game in postseason action. And it's just his second game back after he got a skate cut on his foot.
Yeah, and for Protas, I didn't even know. He's got 30 goals, 36 assists, 66 points. He's a plus 40, Alex.
And same for him. He bounced around up and down the lineup. He can be played from the first line to the fourth line. Put him in any role, he'll thrive there.
So I'm looking on the other side for Carolina. We know that Marty Necas is no longer on the team. But you got Sebastian Aho, 74 points. Jarvis was 67. Who are you looking for to Carolina? I know we can talk about Aho and Jarvis. Those are givens. But who are you looking for in Carolina to try to get that offense needed to get them a push past the Caps?
One player he's mentioning here, and he scored a franchise record 5 goals in a series, and that is Andrei Svechnikov. He had his first career hat trick in Game 4 of the Devils series and tied the game at 3 in Game 5 of that series. He could jumpstart this offense, and him being put next to Aho and Jackson Blake on the top line, that's worked wonders for him in that Devils series.
I'm going to go ahead and flip to this nightcap side of it because I'm interested, and I got to get your thoughts before I bounce out of here. In the mix of the Oilers and the Golden Knights, look, you got Stuart Skinner. Calvert Pickard's going to get the start today, and I believe Aiden Hill. I don't think they're going to change from that from Samsonov. So it'll be Pickard and Hill. But Pickard, Skinner, and Hill have not looked very good throughout the first round. And now it's going to be the Oilers and Golden Knights playing against each other. We know the Oilers made it to the Stanley Cup Finals in Game 7 where they almost got it against the Panthers, but that was an historic penalty kill that we saw last year. We're not seeing that now. But my question to you, more specifically with the Oilers, is this. Can they really lift a Stanley Cup? And again, I know it's the same narrative, but lift the Stanley Cup with the tandem of Pickard and Skinner?
That's a very Pickard and Skinner are a very curious case because you flip one another and you look at all the other teams that address goaltending needs. Colorado addressed theirs with Mackenzie Blackwood. You look at goaltender needy teams and you see all the contenders they traded for goaltenders. New Jersey, they got Jacob Markstrom.
Right.
And then you look at other teams. The Kings added Darcy Kemper. The Avalanche, they added Mackenzie Blackwood. Even though those teams they are eliminated, they addressed their needs. The Capitals, they got Logan Thompson because Kemper was not working out at DC. The Oilers, they stood pat despite the calls for the needs of a goaltender. One of those goaltenders that was available was John Gibson. He was willing to waive his no movement clause to go to the Oilers in such a trade, but the Anaheim Ducks, they just decided, nah, we're just going to leave you with us. The one thing that baffles me is that the Oilers decide not to pull the trigger, and that the Ducks were just too hands-on to hang on to their stud netminder from the years past to get him to the Oilers. That cost not only the Ducks but also the Oilers. And because of tandem, you're running with a tandem of Skinner and Pickard. The problem isn't that you didn't trade for Gibson, because that's part of the problem. The main problem you have now, if you're the Oilers, is that the Skinner and Pickard are your two best options. Yes, you're winning games because of your well-rounded offense. Game 4 was one on the backs of high-end talent. Game 5 won on an all-round team effort. But the problem for Vegas and Edmonton is goaltending has not come strong. Well, Edmonton more so. And that these two options, they're their best options. Edmonton can steal this, but given the past reputations, I'm more inclined to trust Hill more so than Pickard and Skinner. But that's not saying much.
I know it's not, and it's frustrating, I imagine, for all of us and for hockey fans. I know we cover these games, have a good time doing so, but we've had this conversation with Edmonton now over the last 3-4 years, and that's not even just McDavid and Draisaitl. We've been talking about the goaltending tandems a lot. I agree with you on Hill. I think he's available for a bounce back, but I wonder if these two teams, whoever advances, is just going to be cannon fodder for the Dallas Stars. We covered, games 1 and game 7 together. Jake Ottinger, sometimes you can have good games, bad games. I thought he was pretty good in that series against Colorado, things all told. And even Jake Ottinger at his worst is 1,000 times better than what we've seen from that Edmonton and Vegas tandem so far. So I hope that we can see some good, intriguing signs between both Vegas and Edmonton. But I have a feeling tonight I might be calling a 6-5 type of game.
It may come down to special teams as well, because both power plays are electric and both penalty kills are weaknesses on both teams. I think the special teams battle is going to be the most important here. Not to mention even strength, where both teams were good at even strength in the first round. But I think it's going to come down to the special teams.
Well, we will see. I know I'm going to get set to check out of here in a second. I see about a 15-minute game time. Corey Perry's moved up there a little bit, as you mentioned before. See if he finds his way in front of the net. I imagine he's going to. He's a good merchant at that side of it. And the NBA slate, as you mentioned, was really good. I do see the Cavs now have a 98-84 lead over the Pacers in the third. They've really got to get that next game, because I'm going to tell this to you right now, Alec. If the Cavs don't get it together over this next couple of games, I think the Pacers could go to the Eastern Conference Finals. They're no slouch.
Even for all the injuries the Cavs had, Darius Garland, DeAndre Hunter, to name two of them, there's another one of the Cavs who is out hurt. The Cavs need to take this series, but there's the feeling in me, John, that the Pacers are going to push this to a 7-game series. I initially thought this was going to be ending into an early series, but given the number of injuries the Cavs are going through, the Pacers are not going to make this easy on the Cavs.
No, they're not. And then I'll close out with one last thing, as you mentioned on the NBA side of it. I know the Warriors were able to get past the Rockets, unfortunately, but I think the Warriors' due date's over. I'm at least taking the Timberwolves for game 1. Maybe the Warriors can make this a long series, but I think it's time for Anthony Edwards and company to finish it off and go to the Western Conference Finals.
And not many teams dare play zone defense against Steph Curry and company, but the Rockets did that, and it worked in pushing it to a 7th game. So maybe there might be some sort of a blueprint there for how to slow down the Warrior attack. The Timberwolves, they have size, they have their guy, and they have a defense, and they have clutch shooting.
I have a little bit of a busy week as far as Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I was looking at Friday, maybe the Winnipeg-Dallas series, maybe swinging back around to Vegas and Edmonton in game 2. Do you want to maybe link up one of those games on Friday and Saturday if possible?
If possible, that will be the case.
Okay, sounds good. I'm going to bounce out of here, but I'll still listen. I'm going to get set up here for the rest of the day. I'll talk to you in a bit.
All right. Coming up to the start of the third period, the Hurricanes have hit 12 goalposts this postseason, the most of any teams. They've hit 4 goalposts tonight. And 25-8, this block shot advantage for Washington. The Canes need to hit the net more. They need to cut towards the slot and then right in front of the goal mouth, so as to get opportunities to tie this game up and even take the lead. Washington has scored first in 5 of their 6 playoff games this postseason. The only one in which they have not scored first, Game 2 against Montreal. Shot attempts are 70-28 Carolina. Ozone time is 12:29, 5:57 Canes. And 4 posts and crossbars hit for the Canes in this game. 12 in the entire playoffs, most in the NHL. And how many missed opportunities that they had? They came close many times. Andrei Svechnikov being one of them that was a victim of the goalpost. Alongside Shane Gostisbehere, as the clock is down to 0-0, as everyone gets settled down to center ice to begin the third period. It is a Jarvis line, Martinook and Stahl. Up against the Strome line, Ovechkin and Beauvillier. Here we go. Up the far side, sent inside by the Canes. When leading after 2, Washington is 31-1-1. In the playoffs, they are 3 for 3. Here's a one-timer, and it's gobbled up by Thompson. At the top of the slot by Seth Jarvis, who fired it. In the first period, Spencer Carberry said to Emily Kaplan that they weren't really good, but they have turned around their game at the beginning of the second period. But they faltered out at the end of the second period, in which the Canes had 28 shot attempts to Washington's 4 ever since the Protas goal. Off the faceoff, Blake helps out Aho, but the Caps get to it. McMichael gets tied up on the entry for the right side. Wilson boxed out. McMichael helping him. Wilson goes down. And we have an extra attacker out there in the midst of this. It's going to be a tripping penalty against Jackson Blake. So this will be Washington back to the power play. As the call is made by TJ Luxmore, as he sort of gets his stick and foot right between John Carlson, went in the offensive zone. As Wilson, he got a little banged up, went on the Caps offensive zone. This is the 17th time the Canes are going a man down. They are a perfect 16 of 16. The Caps get a second chance. They have 3 shots on their first power play. Martinook, Stahl, Slavin, and Burns against Ovi, Strome, Wilson, Chikrin, and Carlson. Right behind is Burns. 83.6% penalty kill rate in the regular season, tops in the NHL, 16 of 16. And entering the series, their net penalty kill rate was 106.7%. At the near half boards, Martinook batted out of the air, and Stahl fires it down the distance. Martinook and Stahl, the 2 stalwarts on the third line, being oh so defensively minded. Sent back behind for Dylan Strome. Strome moves it up for the middle. Strome weaves his way for the right side. Wilson puts a reverse hit and then bats out a play. And Ovechkin fakes a one-timer after the whistle, ever so softly, not intending to shoot towards Freddie Anderson. Wilson got a little banged up right before this sequence, but the speed of Dylan Strome is what led to this. So this top power play group is back out there at offside against Washington. Jarvis is out there on the PK. And Scott Cherry gives Jordan Martinook's left glove back to him. Let's get the action getting set back to go here. Strome and a false start on Sebastian Aho, so Seth Jarvis will be up there with him. So another false start, and it's won by Jarvis. Brett Burns sends this down the near side of the ice. Off Thompson. There's Aho, Jarvis, Slavin, and Burns on this PK group for the Canes. Bad pass here. Jarvis gets boxed out on the dump and chase. Chikrin will restart. Jacob Chikrin sends it up for Carlson, and then back for Chikrin. Chikrin operating as the 4th forward, despite the fact that he's a defenseman. Moving it over to the far corner, as this is several stick checks on the way. Aho, Strome beat him out to it. Ovechkin gets boxed out and stick checked away. and slapped down the distance. And this went off the referee. It almost went up and out. It might have been deflected out. So it was deflected out. Brent Burns got to the puck and fired it down. 1:45 into this third period. 42 on the Caps power play. Ovi has spent 12:26 of ice time, 2 hits and 1 shot. Those big hits on Seth Jarvis and Jordan Staal. And this is a tie-up on the draw. Connor McMichael wants to help out the Caps. Staal and Orlov were both there. This is slapped around. Case wanted to get this one out. Still along for the blue line. And up the far side. This is grabbed by the Caps. Brent Burns, 1,497 games. The most in the NHL without a Stanley Cup among active players. Second to Ryan Suter. Dubois almost got sticked away. Martinook trying to get to it. Fertie on the man advantage. It comes out towards the left point. Back it around for Mangiapane, who kept this one alive for the moment, but it's Martinook who leads the way for the far side, 2-on-2 short-handed. Martinook holds onto it, back out in front, and then a rebound! That dose was stopped by Thompson. Now a penalty right after the initial penalty was over. So the Canes testing Logan Thompson at the end of the penalty. Slashing against Carter McMichael. As Jordan Martinook was testing Thompson on a 2-on-2 chance short-handed, with him and Jordan Staal getting this one up. Staal swung and missed on it, and Orlov wanted to get the rebound. McMichael, or rather Ovechkin actually, is getting called for slashing. Not McMichael. And so it'll be Carolina to the power play. 6 of 19 against New Jersey. Missed on their first opportunity, having 1 shot. Gostisbehere says one. Svechnikov loose out in front. It gets away from Blake. Gostisbehere in the way at the clear. Holds it at the right point. Now at the top of the left circle. Aho finds Jarvis. Gostisbehere holds, going back for Jarvis. Aho steps up, goes across. The pass was blocked. Caps can't get it out, but ever so slightly they will. They thought that Jarvis is going to hold it as he'll hold up for Blake. Now it's Jarvis who drops it off. Sebastian Aho up the middle. Aho banked it off a skate. Svechnikov to Blake. Jackson Blake moving down low and over towards the near corner. Aho will return it back over to Gostisbehere, and now Blake. Aho. One more time to Gostisbehere. Wanting to open space up for Aho, instead goes to Jarvis. Now back for Gostisbehere. One-timer. Made his way to Thompson, who made the stop. 108 left on the man of edge. 88 miles per hour on the shot from the point. And fans waving their towels here, as Blake almost got the deflection. Mark Jankowski is taken inside the tunnel for evaluations. He is now returned to the bench. He was the one who replaced Jack Roslovic in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Quarterfinals. Sean Walker ties up his man, and he takes a sacrifice. Kotkaniemi chooses a point for Burns. Whips it over left side for Hall. Sets up down low. Stankoven loose out in front. He goes down in the midst of the scuffle. Hall brings it back to Burns. Now it's Hall again. Taylor Hall rips it. That's wide. Kotkaniemi towards the near corner. Walking it back. Burns. Hall one more time. Hall fires it. And Thompson swallows it whole with 41 left. Stop that one with bees. Taylor Hall, Hart Trophy winner with the New Jersey Devils in 2018. Previous stints with the Edmonton Oilers. The now defunct Arizona Coyotes. A 1-year stint with the Buffalo Sabres, the Boston Bruins, and the Chicago Blackhawks. So he's a very experienced vet and a very good scorer. The Canes just re-signed him to a 3-year extension. I'll take it until he's 38. Caps trying to clear it down towards the near side. Can't. First unit's back out there. Jarvis tried to set her up for Aho. Just held inside by Svechnikov. On his backhand, flipped it over to Aho, who was parked to the near corner. Frees up space for Svechnikov. Cross-ice pass. Jarvis. Gostisbehere. Jarvis loads one up. Blake is there to keep it. And then back for Jarvis with 17. Over to Gostisbehere. Frees it for Svechnikov. Back for Gostisbehere. Towards the left side, bounced off a body, comes back for Jarvis. Will backhand to Gostisbehere. Blake, one of the Caps goes down. Here's Gostisbehere, 4, 3, blocked in front. and not cleared out. Gostisbehere, power play over. Moves it over left side. Blake, Jarvis one more time. Jarvis rips it, and that went off. Thompson still in the play. The Caps will get this one out and lift it down the ice. Jarvis will be the first one back as Gostisbehere goes for a change. Blake, staying out there, flipping this one over near side out of his shift. Matt Roy took a hit on the play. Chychrun gets it off to Protas, the lone goal scorer of this game. Break wide pass up the far side of the ice. The Caps will fire this one around for the end boards. Protas gets tied up, reaching Dubois. Stahl was there, and it goes its way and all the way out. Martinook got tangled up on this clear down low. Thompson swept it off for Chychrun. Canes keeping his one inside. Chatfield's shot went off a body, but there's not going to be a breakout for Alexei Protas to have a chance at a second goal. He was beat up by Orlov. Shots are 26-11 Carolina through this period of time, but Washington leads 1-0. Off the middle, Orlov leads the way. Trying to split the defense himself, gets tied up by Strome. And the Capitals get this one out. Beauvillier up the near side, 29-8, the block shots in favor of the Capitals. Brent Burns wanted to get it out, and it's Eric Robinson the way. Strome swung and missed on the keeping attempt. With the Hurricanes wanting to get this one off the far side of the ice, they will, but the Caps will move it down the near side now. Bounced inside off of Beauvillier and collected right behind the play by Slavin. Moved it over for Eric Robinson, was out of his reach. And the Caps are back deep with Trevor Van Riemsdyk. How much craziness will we see between this series and the Vegas-Edmonton series, which John will cover later? Up the near side, this will be sent inside by the Caps with Ryan Leonard pursuing his own dumping. Cleared out by the Canes, and this race for the puck will be enough for the icing. Yes, barely. 6:30 gone in this third period, but after a day in which we saw Inter Milan knock out Barcelona in one of the craziest Champions League games in history, and one of the best ones ever, we're getting set with the chaos that is the Stanley Cup playoffs. Since the Protas goal, the Canes have 44 shot attempts to Washington's 6. The Caps are playing defense more so than offense. Down goes one of the Canes. The Caps will hold it in the zone. From the far half boards, or rather the near half boards, sent down low towards the corner, in which Washington tries to hold it. Dubois, one stick, dispossessed, and the Canes will move it up through the near side with Svechnikov. Fired it over towards the near corner. Svechnikov is first one there. Sandin tried to stick it aside, and attacker came through first. That was Orlov. Bouncing over through some bodies, and the Cats will move it up the near side with McMichael. McMichael, settling pass! And this one will knock wide, and it stayed out. All the way down, Logan Thompson will play this one out of his crease. Dmitry Orlov can't believe it. So, a lot of people thought that was a huge move in which Orlov was signed by Carolina to a 2-year deal. $7.75 million cap hit. He'll be a free agent at the end of this season. Will he stay or will he go? Lars Eller moves inside. Eller forced wide at the crease, and several sticklets in the way to interfere with that. Mangiapane gets it down low. Leonard was tied up, so was Eller. He gets hauled down and on for the near half boards. This goes coasting on back towards the Caps own zone. Icing waved off, and up the far side, this bounces up to neutral ice. 13-1 the shot attempts in favor of the Canes in the third period, and Ryan Leonard gets one on Anderson, and pushing and shoving here after the commotion. Mangiapane was in the middle of it, so was Kotkaniemi, and Leonard, the rookie out of Boston College, wanted to test the old guard, Brent Burns, who knows that this is his final season. The Canes power play had some good looks, but they hit their 5th goalpost of this game off the stop from Logan Thompson. Off of him, and then off the post. We'll be right back with the third period in just a moment. Alec, now be here with you. In about 30 minutes, it'll be game one between the Oilers and Golden Knights. The top two picks of the 2015 NHL entry draft meet again. Jack Eichel and Connor McDavid, number 2 and number 1. Eichel drafted by the Buffalo Sabres, but many forget about pick number 3 in that draft as we're back underway, and that's Dylan Strome, who just took that faceoff. He was drafted by the then Arizona Coyotes, now known as the Utah Hockey Club. Straight to the Chicago Blackhawks, but has found a home with the Washington Capitals as Alex Ovechkin's line mate. To the side, Burns looked to set up Slavin. Protas was there as the pass was too far. For the far side, Leonard gets cut off. And back for Seth Jarvis. Moving up the middle. Jordan Stahl forced wide onto the near corner. Stahl sent it back over to Burns. Burns flipped it over. And it gets gloved down. That might have been a hand pass. Nothing was called there. And up for the middle. And over towards the far side. He's dumped in by the Canes as they change. Towards the other side, the Caps send this one down the ice on this foot race. It'll be grabbed by Sean Walker. Walker away from Mangiapane, the ex-Flame. Svechnikov centers it up, and it's sent up for Aho. Aho, loose lumber on the ice that came from John Carlson. Up the far side, Connor McMichael slows up, and then sends this down to the far corner. Freddie Anderson plays it out. On the near half boards, tie up. Jackson Blake. Bring it up for Walker, and now over to the far side. And it's Taylor Hall wanting to scoop by Freely. Can't do so on Matt Roy. And that allows Wilson to send it up the near side of the ice. McMichael can't handle it. Chatfield could. And it will be sent back for Orlov, the ex-Capital, and one-time Boston Bruin. Orlov sends it through the middle. And up the far side, sent up for the ice. Nothing doing there offensively. And this gets bouncing up, collective. Here circles Stankoven. He scores! Logan Stankoven, the rookie, makes it a tie game here at DC. He fits the system here in Carolina as a shoot-first player. And here he was at the slot, setting things up off the feed and off the takeaway. A stick in the lane, ending Washington's chances for a queer outside the zone, thanks to Jesperi Kotkaniemi. And Stankoven made no mistake, glove side on Thompson, top corner. It's even up at 1 in the midway mark of the third period. Third goal at the playoffs. That leads all rookies in the NHL. We'll see if Carolina can take the lead here in the third. They were excellent in comeback fashion against the New Jersey Devils. Up the near side is Chatfield, who finds Stankoven. And now moving down the near side is Taylor Hall, slows up. Hall drops it back. Kotkaniemi fires it, blocked. Out in front, up in the air. And bounces towards the right of Thompson. Stankoven puts the pressure. And this is Strome taking it back for Washington. Right at slot, the Caps moving up for the near side. Beauvillier's back out there. The shot attempts show a mass disparity in the totals. 86-29 in favor of the Hurricanes. Capitals keeping it on the attempt to clear. This is puck is up in the air. Some Caps fans wanted to get this one, but it stayed on the ice. Stahl plays it out, and this will not be iced. Alexeyev wants to get it out and gets it to McMichael. 22 years old is Stankoven. Here's Dubois. Dubois tried to crisscross his way through, and Wilson takes a big slam at the left circle. Jordan Martinook leads back, and here's a 4-on-3. Here's Aho. Sets it up. One-timer. Blockered away by Thompson. Aho had all sorts of space at his right side. On the other way, Duhaime takes it himself. Duhaime, tight shot. There was a block on the way. Through the far corner, one of the Canes went down. Protas, who has Washington's opening goal. Loosened his slot, picked up by the Canes as nobody was on the Caps was in that slot. Dumped down onto the Caps' own end. Rink-wide pass on their defensive end. The Capitals need to get their game up going. Here's another shot from Protas that is stopped by Freddie Anderson with 8:21 to go in the third period. 1-1 with the Canes putting the pressure on the Caps here all throughout this third period. And Logan Stankoven sneaks one inside the left post and in. Thompson, one of the rare goaltenders who catches with his right hand. We'll be right back in a moment. One here in game one as Shane Gostisbehere hit two posts. Andrei Svechnikov came close to scoring one. The Hurricanes, they were heading goalpost after goalpost throughout this game until finally Logan Stankoven gets it inside the corner and uses Alex Alexeyev as a screen. The Strome line out there for the Capitals. Shot attempts, 37-14 Carolina in the first, 33-14 Carolina in the second, 17-3 Carolina in the third. The Hurricanes are dominating shot attempts here on the night. Driving around is Jarvis, and Carlson was there to stick it away. John Carlson wanted to get it out. It's a headlock here at the far corner. Picked up now by Rasmus Sandin. Washington lofting this one out. Foot race on the other way. Slavin wins it away from Ovechkin. On the opposite quarter, it gets moved up for the middle of the ice. Jordan Stahl will drop back for Jordan Martinook. Rake wide pass. Here's a quick shot. And that one may have gone a piece of Thompson. Burns couldn't handle this one to hold his own. And he'll fire this one around. Loose piece of lumber on the ice. And Thompson playing it over to Jacob Chychrun. Moved it up the near side. Dubois. Pierre-Luc Dubois cutting towards the crease. Dubois takes a big hit on Jalen Chatfield and pays a hefty price. He is struggling to get up. As this foot race played out by Thompson on a quick one-timer. Thompson bailed himself out. A chance to stay in the crease, and Dubois is laboring. The officials blow the play dead. Dubois is struggling to get up. You need a little help, and he is getting helped out by his teammate. He is on one. He won 1 foot. Jalen Chatfield brought him down, trying to stick it away. His ankle collided with the ice. The stick blade exploded upon contact with the boards. And oopsie daisies from Logan Thompson, in which it almost was, if you're a goaltender, tend to goal. Svechnikov has not found a goal just yet in this game. With 7:17 to go in the first period, or third period, Dubois is getting the skate blade reattached onto his skate. Svechnikov on the ice once again. In close games this postseason, 83% were decided by at least one goal or two with an empty net. 49% were game time or go-ahead goal in the third period in close games this postseason. And this one looks to be no different. Rasmus Sandin fires around the near side. Settled down by Dmitry Orlov, the ex-cap. Up the far side, the boards. This gets bounced up, and it'll be iced by the Canes. Edmonton and Vegas will get set for puck drop at 9:50 Eastern. Losses will lead after the second. 11-12 for one round. So later tonight, Oilers and Golden Knights, and tomorrow, Panthers, Maple Leafs. John covered Game 1 last night. I'll be covering Game 1 of the Stars and Jets tomorrow night. Dylan Strome wins the faceoff, rushing to his McMichael. Jacob Chikrin keeps his one around and fires it on his backhand. Strome is pile driven towards the ground. Svechnikov trying to get this one out. And it's ruled a hand pass. 6:48 to go. Washington has fired just 13 shots on Freddie Anderson. 1-1, the score after one. And neither team has an advantage over one another in terms of goal scoring. Carolina has the shots on goal advantage, and all of a sudden they're finding their comfort. And Sebastian Aho had his mouth guard with him, and Tom Wilson tried to take it away from him. And Wilson grabbed him by the horse collar. 5 hits for him, but he's the definition of a pest. Second line's back out there for the Canes. This faceoff won by Carolina. Moved up the middle of the ice. The Canes enter 3-on-3. Taylor Hall waving by John Carlson. Parked to the far corner. Goes down, but there's someone to help him out. Backhand forehand. An overskate, but this one poked inside and kept inside by Hall. Stankoven, stick lifted, right behind the crease. He has the tying goal for the Canes. From the far corner, Carolina tried to play this one out. Kotkaniemi was stripped. A one-timer was fanned on, and the Canes tie up the Caps on the counter. Now they'll get it back with a chance to bring this one down. Stankoven sends it to the far corner, and this is him laying the body, and Carolina almost gets a takeaway. The Caps will send this one down the ice. Will this be an icing? Yes. 6:03 to go here in the third period. Caps thought there should have been a penalty at their end of the ice with, and Jacob Chikrin is a little upset because of that. They're making sure that Dylan Strome is back onto the ice. So because of this dump in, the Canes get their top line back onto the ice. Aho, Svechnikov, and Blake. Blake getting more reps on the top line. Strome 5-15 on the faceoffs. Aho 10 of 19. This one's won by Strome. That's just a 6-1. Mangiapane sending this one behind. There's a shove right behind Thompson's crease. This high puck is now gobbled down by the Canes. They'll play this one to center. Svechnikov played this one behind. Rushing inside is Gostisbehere. He gets slowed down. The Caps wanting to get this one back, and they will. Here's the breakout. Ryan Leonard for the lead. Big save, Anderson. He's without his stick right behind the play. Gostisbehere trying to play it out. He will. And Anderson will now retrieve his stick. Finally, he will. And Gostisbehere will play this towards the corner and now towards center ice. Ryan Leonard had a chance to score his first career playoff goal. Stahl on one hand gets tied up by Eller, who loses the puck. Still was a tie-up. Matt Roy also there. Came out towards the far corner for Protas. Protas plays this one out, and this might be a second straight icing, yes, against Washington. A frantic sequence for Freddie. And Shane Gostisbehere was in the battle. Ryan Leonard tried to do one too many dipsy-daisy moves, overskate the puck, and lost it. He went tried to sneak it past the right pad of Freddie Anderson, but overskated as he went towards the crease. 1 goal in 15 games between regular season and playoffs. The only goal was an empty net. A very clean face-off win, so clean that exit the Washington zone. Brent Burns goes up at the near side. This is a bouncing puck. It'll come down towards the near corner for Taylor Hall. Another fight for this loose puck. Bounces up, and this will be covered up. No, it won't, by Logan Thompson. And Hall frees it up towards the left point. Glove down by Washington as they'll look to counter inside. Up the right side, this is sticked in the way by Slavin, who read that one entirely. Jacob Slavin. Seeing the Canes take line changes, he'll be at the end of his shifts sometime soon. Chatfield's out there. Slavin will go for his change. Jacob Chikrin and Jalen Chatfield with one another. Chikrin at the corner, tied up by Stahl. Jordan Stahl will send it up. Martinuk. There was a stick there. Chatfield on the hole right around. Stahl right behind the crease, watched by Wilson. Backhand this one out. Broken stick on the ice. Bounced inside, and Seth Jarvis kept it in. Right behind that, it's played out to Sheffield, a tie-up with McMichael, and the Caps will take it away. And it will be dumped in by Tom Wilson. Right behind the play, sticked away onto the near half boards. 3:45 to go. Walking to left point is Rasmus Sandin, who fires one deep, deflected up high by Lars Eller. Once again held inside. This one bounced in front by Orlov, and this will be played out towards the Washington zone. And the Canes will make their changes. They have the shots on goal advantage, 31-13. And they have a vast shot attempt advantage. Up the far boards. Carolina gets in the way of that stretch pass, and they'll send it in again. Thompson playing this one out on the chase. Svechnikov was there, so was Aho, who left it for Blake. And then back for Aho. Pass down in front doesn't go anywhere. Swept inside to keep it in by Slavin. Aho, he gets reverse hit onto the far corner by Sandin. Played out by Slavin. And Blake tried to keep this one inside. Sandin just got enough to get that one over several heads. Brent Burns will play this one. From his own zone, getting this one across. Off Blake and inside. At Washington's own zone, looking to score the go-ahead goal. Looking like next goal wins here at the U.S. Capitol. Lars Eller fires one from in tight. And there was nothing there in terms of a shooting lane. Back the other way come the Canes. With the second line, Logan Stankoven flips this over towards the near corner. Matt Roy sticking this one away from Jesperi Kotkaniemi. And Ryan Leonard plays this one out. Back inside comes Kotkaniemi trying to undress Roy. He was not buying it. Drop pass. Here's a quick shot that went over towards the mesh. Over Thompson. 2:10 to go here in the third period. Next goal wins in all likelihood. We'll be right back in a moment. And over at Vegas, Connor McDavid warming up. He has 1.6 career playoff points per game. Third all time in NHL history. John, I'll have the coverage of that. I'll have the coverage with you of Caps Canes the rest of the way. .210 left in regulation. If nobody scores here, we go to overtime. And we've seen our fair share of overtime games here so far in the playoffs. The most thrilling one being a double overtime thriller between the Winnipeg Jets and the St. Louis Blues. Longest game of the playoffs so far and the third longest Game 7 in NHL history. Alexei Prost with his first career playoff goal. Logan Stankoven with his third goal at the playoffs, which leads all rookies in the NHL this postseason. Sebastian Aho to take this faceoff for Carolina to the left of Thompson. We'll be here for as long as we need to. 90-32. That's not a typo. That's a shot attempts. And a false start on the draw. And Svechnikov went down on the faceoff, but again, it's a false start as Svechnikov and Chychrun were tangled up with one another. So Aho will be tossed out, and he'll be going towards the left wing. It'll be Jackson Blake to take it. Svechnikov rushes to the puck off the draw. Tie-up. Oh, there's a penalty. It's going to be a Washington penalty as Svechnikov was slashed. Off the faceoff, What a mistake. Jacob Chikrin gets 2 minutes for high sticking. And Chikrin's trying to plead his case. We'll have to check the replay for exactly what happened. But 3 seconds off the face-off, Svechnikov and Tom Wilson getting at it. So a chance on the power play as Svechnikov got sticked up high. Oh yeah, he sticked him up high. He's still arguing. And you cannot change the penalty. It's 2 minutes for high sticking, no blood drawn. But a high sticking penalty is a high sticking penalty is a high sticking penalty. That is a high stick up high. And now the main power play core of Aho, Jarvis, Blake, Svechnikov, and Gostisbehere could potentially win it here with a power play goal. Dowd, Duhaime, Carlson, and Roy to defend. Gostisbehere sets up. No one-timer, but it goes to Blake, who mishandles it, and it's cleared out by the Caps. 1:55 to go here in this third period. Next goal wins in all likelihood. Here's Seth Jarvis. Jarvis moves around Dowd. Aho leaned away. And it's onside. Aho gets it back over to Gostisbehere. And this went over the stick of Svechnikov. Just held inside by Gostisbehere on the attempted clear. Here's Seth Jarvis walking a high slot. Aho fans on the one-timer. That was from a very sharp angle. And not a lot of chance there. Gostisbehere just keeps it inside again. Jarvis skates to the top of the right circle. Jarvis will look and drop it back for Aho. Sebastian Aho goes across. It is Gostisbehere. Back for Aho. Gostisbehere sets up at the point. Now back for Jackson Blake at the top of the left circle. Gostisbehere setting up for the one-timer option. Between him, Jarvis, and Blake as they're all cycling around. Back over to Aho. Aho waits a bit at the top of the slot. Gostisbehere right circle. This bounces off the far corner. Final minute of the period. Final 50 of the power play. Blake right behind the play. Svechnikov right up ahead as this puck bounces up and around. This went out of play, it seemed. And both teams want to go at each other. And two players go down as they're trying to get right at it. The most fierce battle between Matt Roy and I think Seth Jarvis. It is Jarvis. John Carlson involved too. There were some fisticuffs along the glass as Scott Cherry and Trent Noor had to step in to break it up. Wes McCauley and TJ Luxmore handling the officiating duties among the referees. This went up in the air as it went out of play, and Jackson Blake was checked by Matt Roy well after the play ended. And all of a sudden, Blake put Roy on a chokehold, and in turn, Dowd put Blake on a chokehold. Too much pushing and shoving right afterwards. That's the rivalry for you. Logan Stankoven's back out there for this face-offs. But this matchup is a feisty one. And so much pushing and shoving. They don't have a shot on this power play, but there are golden opportunities for the Canes here at 5-on-5. No penalties after that whistle. But if this was a game that was out of hand, I can assure you that there were some players that would have gotten roughing penalties and 10-minute misconducts. 33-24, the Canes with the advantage at the faceoff dot. Kotkaniemi, Hall, Stankoven, Burns, and Walker. Basically the entire second line. Carlson got it out. And it's Freddie Anderson will leave it up. 42 on the period, 35 on the man advantage. Burns slows up. Burns will find Walker onside. Over towards the far corner. This skips over Kotkaniemi's stick and clear it again. Anderson wants to restart again. He'll move it up front again softly. 20 seconds on the power play. Brad Burns takes it up slowly. Burns through the left side for Kotkaniemi. Yes, Barry Kotkaniemi gets slowed up. Hall on the hold. This is wide of Walker. Sweeps it inside to keep it. Right around to the far corner. Taylor Hall. This pry free. The Caps take it out. And the power play ends. On this chance here for the Caps here. Anderson in danger. Right behind the crease. Brad Burns will hold on to it. And that'll run our regulation. Overtime in DC. One after 60 minutes. And that's not enough to determine the outcome of this game. We have seen several games go to overtime throughout this postseason. None better than Jets Blues. But how deep will this one take us? We have yet to find out. But Anderson has not done a lot. Logan Thompson has done his head, but so has the goalpost. When we come back, it'll be the overtime intermission report in just a moment. I'm Alec Nava. Stay tuned, everyone. The big reason why we're headed to overtime, Logan Stankoven is tied the game at 1 and no more scoring after that. 1-1 after 60 minutes. Yes, Perry Kotkaniemi has the only assist. Alec Nava here with you. If you're looking for Vegas Edmonton, John Knott has you covered there on Twitter Spaces and YouTube. That's at John Ryan Ott. 13 of 14 is Freddie Anderson. Logan Thompson is 30 of 31. Carolina's a team that shoots from everywhere. So the shots are 31 to 14 in favor of the Canes. 42-30 Canes, and hits 33-25 face-offs Canes. And block shots 31-9 Caps. Takeaways 7-6 Canes, giveaways 13-10 Caps. It's been a tight battle, but this is a game that's dominated by Carolina. They're a team that likes to shoot from everywhere. And even most of those coming from the point. And as we go back into the Internacional versus Barcelona game, Barca came back from 2-0 and 3-2 down the first leg to draw 3-3 last week. They produced yet another stirring turnaround, moving to the brink of their first Champions League final since 2015. When Rafinha struck at the 87th minute, they led for the first time in the tie after second half goals from Eric Garcia and Dani Olmo. They canceled out a first half strike from Lautaro Martinez and Hakan Çalhanoğlu, a penalty kick. That lead lasted for 6 minutes. They couldn't get over the line, and veteran defender Francesco Acerbi turned home from close range in the 93rd minute. There was no time for Jan Sommer to deny Lamine Yamal, who also hit the goalpost before Acerbi's late goal. So, Francesco Acerbi, as the teams could not be separated after 180 minutes. Fratesi pulled Inter clear again in the 99th minute. David Fratesi pulled Inter again ahead in the 99th minute. It was over to Sommer to seal the passage to the final in Munich against either Paris Saint-Germain or Arsenal on May 31st. Jan Sommer was superb on 2 times from Yamal as Barca do everything at the Serie A side, held on to win, and the 3-time winners now have the chance to take away their nightmares to the defeat to Manchester City in the final 2023, where Rodri scored the only goal of that game. There are 2 words for this sort of game. They have 4 letters. Epic. After 120 minutes, more than 130 if you count injury time, is enticing football that was decided at the end at the final whistle. So much was made about rotations, squad management, and the physical toll between Barca and Inter. Hansi Flick rested 9 starters over the weekend. His counterpart Simone Inzaghi, an older squad, has been rotating all season with 10 starters. But Tuesday night at San Siro was moved to something else. Whatever reserves the 2 teams had towards the 90th minute were long exhausted. International's run had run dry before Barca's, enabling their comeback from 2 goals down to lead 3-2 as the clock was going down. As much as their legs were heavy, compounded by the fact that their minds were clouded, decisions were poor, the judgment ill-timed, is that Lamine Yamal, the 17-year-old with otherworldly skills, and veterans in always a perpetual moment. When Fiji scored what should have been the winner two minutes ago, Barcelona's social accounts talk about how the club never dies. And so it happened. Acerbi, the 37-year-old cancer survivor, broke the spell of tremendous finish in the 3rd minute of stoppage time. Because by the point the game was an inverted looking glass epic, it was fitting the left shot defender, impersonating as a center forward, tied the game up with his wrong foot. He's one of the heroes of heroes. As a substitute, David Fratesi gained the winner and then hyperventilate, collapsing on the pitch. As long as a scion of football royalty. Marcus Thuram, bulldozing for the first half and then won the game through his grit, along with Nicolo Barella, whichever one of the 2 free who appeared to be on the pitch, alongside Alessandro Bastoni and Denzel Dumfries, as was pretty much everyone else for Internacional. Though the man of the match went to Jan Sommer, the 36-year-old Swiss keeper, and his biggest saves, 7 in total, several on Yamal, made the difference. His story is improbable. He's at Internacional because 2 years ago, after reaching the Champions League final in Istanbul, they were forced to transfer their standout keeper, Andre Onana, because years of mismanagement and profligate spending made they operate under shackles of financial sustainability rules, trying to escape debt incurred seasons ago. That's how they ended up with Sommer, unwanted by Bayern Munich. Let's not forget that standout didn't actually step onto the pitch. Simone Inzaghi, 2 years ago, his band of rejects, aging maestros and self-made stars overcame the odds to reach the biggest game in club football. 2 years ago, a bunch of unbelievers were supposed to see the light. Inzaghi has the Eagles the size of a mustard seed, as said by Gabriele Marcotti on ESPN Soccer. But he might not have the part, not have the philosophy that people were writing about. He gets the best of his players. So when the dust settles on the season, Barca's crestfallen players will have plenty to be proud of. Defeat to Internacional may have ended their hopes of a first Champions League title in a decade, killing their treble, but they have already won the Spanish Supercopa and the Copa del Rey, have a 4-point lead at the top of La Liga. What more, this is a young team led by Lamine Yamal and Pedri, willing to write a new chapter in club history, not wanting to focus on the past. They played their part in this remarkable semifinal match. They come back time and time again, like they have done throughout the season. They twice came back from 2 goals down against Internacional albeit to ultimately lose to tie, but better luck when twice coming from 2 behind against Atletico Madrid and Benfica. He also fought back from a losing position to beat Real Madrid in last week's Copa del Rey final. They are characterized by fighting spirit. They're not an inferior team in Europe. Dani Olmo described the atmosphere among the players before this second leg as being like a party. European goes to the past. Defeats against AS Roma and Liverpool in 2018 and 2019. No longer a hang-up. The mentality has what's been transferred to the fans. The 4,000 in Milan carry banners which read, "We are back." So once again, I believe afflicts great entertainers and compete with Europe's best. That's thanks to Lamine Yamal. Not only established himself among the world's best players this year, but has a self-confidence that's infectious. Internacional exploited them at times in his tie, targeting Barca's high-line transitions and attacking them as set plays. They also gave away soft goals, but more often than not, Flick's high-risk, high-reward style has paid off, and it won't change on Sunday. It's a perfect chance to move on for this defeat, a Clásico against Real Madrid. Beat Los Blancos, and they have one hand on the La Liga title. So as to go for this game, with 4 minutes to go here in the overtime intermission report, we'll go over to the NBA side. We talked about last night's games. An early result from tonight. The Indiana Pacers, the never say die attitude, pays off. Aaron Nesmith and Miles Turner each with 23. 8 rebounds for Turner. 19 points for Tyrese Halliburton with 9 rebounds and 4 assists. That 9 rebound stat is popping out. Benedict Mathurin, 19 points off the bench. But Andrew Nembhard with 13 points, 13 assists in this 2-point guard set. These two understand each other. For the Cavs, despite getting 48 points and Donovan Mitchell with 9 assists and 4 steals, that wasn't enough. 22 from Jared Allen, 12 rebounds, 3 assists. 23 points from Max Strus. As the Pacers, they showed their speed and showed their worth, showed their defense, showed that they are to be taken seriously as a team. So if we're going for overtime winners here in this game, they'll be going with these players. If I'm picking someone from Washington to win the game, then I'll be going with Connor McMichael. And if it's someone from Carolina, it'll be one off the stick of Andrei Svechnikov. So those are my overtime picks. So as we go over this, if you want to tune into Vegas Edmonton, John Ott has you covered. Follow him at John Ryan Ott on Twitter Spaces and YouTube. So what a game between Internacional and Barcelona. A classic in Champions League folklore. So there have been 3 straight 1-0 results in the Champions League final. Linkin Park will headline the Champions League pregame show. So one of the teams involved are Internacional, and the other will be either Arsenal or PSG. It'll be the first UEFA Champions League final played under the Swiss system format, a non-eliminating tournament that features a fixed number of rounds of competition. In Vegas, they get on the power play and they strike goal first. Shea Theodore gets one for the Knights. So that is the scoring update. So we are back here at Washington, D.C. Next goal wins between Carolina and Washington. Have some unleash the fury flags here. Alex Ovechkin gets his first career playoff overtime winning goal in Game 1 against the Montreal Canadiens. The Carolina Hurricanes got one from Sebastian Aho to eliminate the New Jersey Devils on a one-timer at the top of the right circle in double overtime, Game 5, to clinch their series. It is tied at 1. It is 5-on-5, the sudden death format, and each period will last 20 minutes. The Ovechkin line is out there for the Caps to begin this OT. 1-0 Vegas as the Knights begin their game against the Oilers. Goaltending doesn't look to be a strength for either team, but it's going to come down to the special teams battle. Logan Thompson has been outstanding in this game. If I'm Carolina, I don't want anything to change. Continue dominating the shot attempts battle and continue shutting them down defensively. It is Ovechkin, Strome, and Beauvillier on the ice to start it off. Jordan Staal's free playoff OT goal. Sebastian Aho 2, Jesperi Kotkaniemi 1. Ovechkin, Tom Wilson, Pierre-Luc Dubois each have 1s. We are underway. Up the far side as the Canes can't hold the zone, and Dmitry Orlov had trouble with it on his former team. Sent up the ice across the rink. There was nothing there as Jacob Slavin turns away Alex Ovechkin. Moved across the ice for Burns. Third time these two are playing a playoff overtime game between each other. This is the 13th playoff overtime game this postseason. Strome ties at Jordan Staal, and it could not be gloved down by Jordan Martinook. Martinook holds his zone for the moment, but it comes out through center for Orlov. Right over the glove of Protas, and there will be a whistle here 38 seconds into OT. Sebastian Aho sets up at center ice on this faceoff. So a long shift could get going for either team. Connor McMichael's out there. No long playoff OT winners. Jordan Staal free. Aho takes his faceoff and wins it. Going all the way back for Jacob Slavin as this went off the stick of Svechnikov on the dump-in from the near corner. Several tight checks here as the Canes hold the zone. Quick shot, and that was wide of Thompson's short side. Chikrin had trouble, so did Dubois as Aho was all over that. Bounced out through center with Aho in pursuit. Aho sticks it away, and the Canes will take it back up through the ice. Up the near side, Jackson Blake couldn't get this by one of the Caps defenders, and up for the far side, this bounced up and recollected by Svechnikov, who was moving up the far side. Svechnikov 1-on-3. This bounced off a stick that was Chikrin, and it goes out the rink. So among playoff overtime winners, for Carolina, speak of Sebastian Aho, who has 2 of them, where Jordan Staal is, Sebastian Aho has 2, Jordan Staal 3. So Aho has 1 throughout 2023. They have 4 playoff overtime winners. Or 3 rather. I miscalculate. 31 blocked shots for the Caps, a season high. The Canes win the faceoff, could not hold the zone. Sean Walker had trouble. Shane Gostisbehere places inside. And Thompson played out for Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Taylor Hall was in pursuit over towards the far boards. This will be going down the lane for Shane Gostisbehere to pick it up. No icing. Right behind the play. The Caps keep it in. Deflection! That went up high and missed it. Right towards the near half boards. It went by Jordan Staal. And a right inside back it goes. With Anderson played out for Gostisbehere and back for Sean Walker. Walker up the far side. And then on for the Caps bench. Here's Taylor Hall. His shot is blocked off a stick. And the Caps will move it back up to the ice. That pass was blocked. It'll come back for Hall, who couldn't get all of that one. A tight check. And offside on the Canes. Seth Jarvis trying to jump across. So defending forwards, defending the forecheckers. Important here for both teams. William Carrier with those heroes. Pierre-Luc Dubois had 1 for Columbus. And a hard way to produce offense by getting shots from anywhere. And take advantage. The Caps control. Chikrin. For the far side. This bounced up near the Caps bench. Collected up at center ice. Could not do so. And now by the Canes as they send it back. Orlov sends it down. It bounced off Eller. And now back for William Carrier. Carrier sending towards the inside. Couldn't do so. Back towards the point as is Chatfield. Chatfield's ripper. Bouncing puck made its way towards Logan Thompson. Scoops it up with his glove hand. Yes, Barry Kotkaniemi wanted to set up in front on the deflection this time. Off the long shot from Jalen Chatfield. This time, Kotkaniemi sets up his stick and it changed direction as it went up high and then down low with Kotkaniemi wanting to redirect it. Thompson scooped it up and got all of that one as he caught it out of the bottom. Mark Jankowski on the fourth line. So Stahl and the third line back out there. Jankowski. We have yet to see what ward we got from him in the meantime. Caps win the face-off. Chychrun wants to get it out. And he will do so. Racing for it now as Orlov picks it up. Moving it towards the near side. Caps scoop it up again. They have not had a lot of shot attempts here throughout this game. Yet the Alexei Protas goal is why they were up 1-0. And why they're in this overtime. Duhaime. This bounced up and the Canes settle it back down. Swing and a miss as a foot race. Chychrun tried to sweep it away. Jarvis stayed with it. Seth Jarvis staying heavily on the forecheck. Backing around onto the left point where it is Dmitry Orlov keeping it around. Bartnook tried to find Jarvis but is held inside by Jacob Slavin. Score! It's somehow deflected in! Through a screen set in front. I think it may have bounced off Jordan Stahl. And the Hurricanes take game one of this series. I don't believe it. Somehow that puck bounced into the net. Jacob Slavin with the initial shot. Might have bounced off Jordan Stahl. Nonetheless, the Hurricanes take game one at the U.S. Capitol. Heavy forecheck and Slavin got the shot. Might have been Seth Jarvis. Might have been Jordan Stahl. And that's a winner here. Where you have yet to see, it might be Jarvis getting the touch, but nonetheless, the Canes take game one.
Sorry I'm late, Alec. I've been busy all day and all night, but man, oh man, oh man. Am I coming in clear?
Yep.
My man, the Royals just walked it off again. Literally seconds before this OT winner by the Canes. So it is a great night, my friend. Let's go.
Virtual high five. Whoa-bang. What a night for both the Royals and the Hurricanes. What a night for us, Ian. And while it's nice to have your company, I know you were late to this. Better late than never. What a win for the Canes in which they grinded this one out.
Yep. So who were the goal scorers for Carolina? I'm betting one of them was Sebastian Aho.
Nope. The other was Logan Stankoven, our trade deadline acquisition when we trade away Mikko.
Man, that's the best case scenario, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, go ahead, trade for one guy. He's not working out. Trade him to another team at the deadline. Get back a guy who's highly touted, but still needs some seasoning. Oh wait, playoffs come around and he's a freaking warrior.
the short king.
How many goals is that now?
That's his third, which actually is the NHL lead among rookies this postseason.
Wow. Oh, man. Oh, Alec, like I told you after the Blues lost, the Canes are the only team I want winning this thing. Okay, maybe if all else fails, it will be Toronto, but only for Greg Berube. But primarily, the jerks must pull this off.
Oh, let's go. Let's absolutely go. And what a win as the shot board was dominated by the Canes.
Excellent.
Shoot from...
man.
Of course. This was the message. Shoot the puck. And that we did. You may be noticing that my display name and everything else is not capitalized because, you know, it's the Capitals that we're going up against.
Oh, that's right.
Whoa.
Clever. I like it.
That's clever. Yep. There it is. As the Canes win 2-1 in the lucky number 13 overtime game of the postseason. 3:06 into the first OT. It is Seth Jarvis from Jacob Slavin and Jordan Martinook officially the goal for the OT winner.
Excellent. Oh man, that's game one in Washington, right?
Yes. And we needed to win on the road because during the Rod Brindamore era, the Canes have not been good on the road in the playoffs. We needed this one.
Yes, it was. Oh man, I'm pulling for y'all. I am so there. The brass bonanza must ring out. I don't care if it's the Whaler song. Carolina, get it done. Win that cup.
Oh, what a crazy day over these last 4 days. And the chaos only began with that instant classic between Internacional and Barcelona in the Champions League. But we have to be sleeping home happy tonight. But that's it. Any final thoughts before we wrap this one up, Ian?
Well, please come to our game.
Keep coming to our games. Anyway, that's it for this one. What was that?
I said your Hurricanes fan is a lot better than mine.
Well, we can continue going at one another, but it's always fun doing the Hurricanes man voice.
Yes. All right, Alec. Go ahead and sound this thing off. You carried it the entire night. And, yeah, man. Give us the outro.
Dun, 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 dun. How's about that? Let's go.
Yes, sir.
All right. And we'll see you all next time around. Whether it be Panthers, Leafs, Stars, or Jets, I've yet to figure that out. But I'll have the games sorted out tomorrow. See you next time.